Hey, what's up with Sean Baligian?
What up? This is Joint Bell here on the Baligian and Bell Show.
Make sure you check us out on the Woodward Sports Network. What is up? Glad you could join us on a Monday morning, not just any Monday morning. It's MLK Day, so props to MLK. We need his love and logic and reasoning more than ever in our society today. For hockey fans, Willie O'Ree being honored as well. He broke the NHL's color barrier way back in 1958 as a member of the Boston Bruins. Wings playing a matinee day, and look who showed up. I love every second of this. And let me tell you how things go here today. Like, originally, I was supposed to be by myself, and then about 2 minutes ago, no joke, right, Tom?
No joke.
Maybe three. Maybe I'm exaggerating. Maybe it was 3 minutes ago. Maz walks in and goes, "Hey, do you need somebody today?" And yeah, that sounds cool.
What the hell, man?
Tom Mazway, how are you? Look
I'm good, brother.
The USA Hockey
I'm
pullover.
good, man.
That's
I'm
beautiful.
Good. I wore it for the matinee today.
You all right?
I'm good, man. It's good to be here.
I know. You know what? I've said this forever and a day. I cannot stand being on the air while a game's going on. I hate
know.
it.
Well, we should have.
Seriously, I hate it.
We should have our TV rolling here pretty soon.
Well, you know what it is too. It's like back in the day when I was doing an afternoon show. Whenever the Tigers were on, it was the worst thing because, like, honestly, you're doing your show and then you. Oh yeah, I'm doing a show.
Exactly.
You know, I mean, really, and that's it. So, like, no monitors are on in here. We're not going to be watching. We're not going to be watching the Wings in here or anything like that. But it's always a pleasure to be joined by Tom Mazway here on Woodward Sports. Joik Bell has the day off. Good morning, Jenna. Good morning, Lynn. Everybody say hi to Maz. Come on, you guys all know Maz.
Come on, guys.
So give him a little love this
here.
morning. Say hi. Say hi to Maz as well. So much going on. This is one of those things, Maz, where like on a Monday morning, I don't even know where to start. Obviously, we're going to talk about the NFL playoffs. We're going to talk about the Wings getting their first win. But maybe because we are on Woodward and this is Detroit, we can talk about what's going on with the lines. I guess,
God, yeah.
You know what? What's your take on everything so far?
Well, it's slow as they go, as we say, and guys keep coming off the board. And we hear the rumors. Dan Campbell from a few weeks ago, he's starting to pick up traction. And he played here. He knows how we were. He knows how we are. And I like the guy as far as I like his look. He oozes football. He did have a stint as a head coach. Went 5-7 for Philbin in Miami.
What a disaster that was.
That was a bad team.
Yeah.
That was a bad team. Philbin was supposed to be the guy, and that thing fell out of bed quick.
Yep.
But you know what? I was on the Salah bandwagon. I really was. I like where he's coming from. He's been a coordinator for a very good team that went to a Super Bowl. Look at the injuries that team had this year, and he kept them on. He kept them going. I love that whole coaching staff in San Francisco. He goes to the Jets. Obviously, he didn't win their hearts here in Detroit. Some people think he dumped the interview. I don't think. Do you ever dump an interview?
No.
You don't have to take the job if you don't want it.
And you know what, Maz? The one thing that I would love somebody to explain to me, because the other narrative that you heard was he was a poor interview.
Yeah.
Define a poor interview.
Yeah, I don't get it.
I'm sorry. What did he come in and just babble?
Like, did he not know what he was talking about?
What does that mean?
Did he have no coordinators in his pocket? I mean, he had a plan. He had a plan.
I don't get it.
Anyway, Dan Campbell looks like it's going to be Wednesday.
Yeah.
Because it can't be today. He wants to do his exit interviews with New Orleans. They look not good yesterday. I thought Sean Payton should have pulled Breeze. I know it was his last game.
Couldn't agree with you more.
Put Winston in, man.
He cannot throw.
Put Winston in the third quarter.
And listen, and Joik loves Drew. They played together, and I've mentioned this to Joik a couple times, okay? Hall of Famer, no doubt about it, one of the greats. He can't throw anymore. No. And there's a difference, and it's funny because I think a lot of the people, and Joik brought this up, and it's a fair point. Arm strength has never been his forte. Agreed. It's always been about precision.
Yeah.
But when defenses know you're not going much more than 15 yards, man, I don't know what to tell you.
You heard Troy Aikman all day yesterday. He's not throwing down the field.
Yep.
This is 5 minutes left in the game. He was still not throwing down the field. You've got your receivers. Yeah, they're probably missing one big guy. Michael Thomas, bad year this year, injured. He didn't have a catch.
Yeah.
He didn't have a catch. You got to put him in. And I thought Phil Rivers was another guy out of gas. I thought Frank Reich should have pulled him. Maybe put Jacoby Brissett in just to change it up a little bit. I love that Colts team. Phil Rivers cost him, if you ask me.
Yeah. It's interesting. Somebody said, hey, Sean, can you give a little info on Maz? I don't know him. They don't know Maz.
What can I tell you?
Now, you know what? Maz worked at WJR for years and years and years. And then we had an opportunity to work together at 105.1.
Yep.
And Maz, you've been in the business. I think you've been in the business longer than I, haven't you?
Yeah,
when did you start?
96.
I was 95. I got you.
You got me. You got
by
me.
a little bit.
So I started off with WJR. Chuck Swirsky brought me in, the voice of the Bulls.
Yes.
He was the sports director at JR. We'd go against you guys on DFN.
Yeah,
I mean, we'd have the little commercials going against each other.
I remember. It was a lot of fun.
Don Swindell was the master of putting those commercials out.
He was something else.
Hey, Maz, where are they going? They're going up the dial, Chuck, to 11:30. It was they had the whole parody against us, and then Steve Courtney came, Dan Dickerson. We had Sports Rap.
Yeah.
You guys had your thing down on the Fan. It was a fun time. And,
yeah, it was.
And that's where I cut my teeth.
Yeah, it was a great time. It really was. Not enough is said about that era. No. But we'll do that. We'll have that conversation someday. So yeah, Maz, we're happy Maz is going to be a part of things here at Woodward Sports. I can't say anything about the afternoon show, can I? Am I allowed to say anything about the afternoon show?
Not yet. We're building something.
Do you like that? Do you like how I teased y'all? Yeah, there's an afternoon show coming. Maybe you've caught wind of that, but there's an afternoon show coming. Tom's going to be a part of it, and we're really happy to have him here. You know what? I want to go back to your thoughts on the lines, because one thing that jumped out to me over the weekend, and I was getting into conversations with people, and Tom, I'm not lying. It was one of those things where you have to go back sometimes with revisionist history and make sure your brain isn't telling you something that you're seeing, because I saw a lot of people talking up Marvin Lewis.
Oh, yeah. He was 12-1 a couple of weeks ago. His name just popped out of nowhere. That was a secret interview, remember?
Yeah.
No one said he was coming.
Well, and it was interesting because, you know what a lot of people, it always came back to, well, don't just look at his playoff record as a coach.
What else do you look at?
Wouldn't that be perfect if you could take shitty moments, crappy moments out of your life? They don't exist.
No.
Don't look at that. Don't look at that. Don't look at that failure. Don't look at this failure or whatever. And now, granted, in the interest of being fair, and I try my darndest to be fair in life and in this business, I get it. It wasn't an ideal situation for Marvin Lewis with Cincinnati. That is as dysfunctional as any franchise there is in the National Football League, including the Lions. I mean, it's a mess, okay?
No. Don't go there.
The Lions are pretty dysfunctional.
They made 2 Super Bowls, bro.
Well, listen, as far as dysfunction goes, though, see, I agree with you. I think you and I have had this conversation before. There's
no comparison.
No comparison. If you're talking about failure and ineptitude, there's no comparison. And I've had that conversation with a Bengal fan where I said, pick one of the years that you went to the Super Bowl. Just one.
You win.
You had more wins in that playoff year than the Lions have had, period. End of story. But as far as dysfunction goes, okay?
Yeah.
No scouting staff, no all of those things. That's what I'm talking about.
And they played like banshees, too. They were not disciplined.
Yeah.
Always getting in trouble. Remember the Steelers against them? I mean, it was like a jailhouse break. It was like the longest yard when the Steelers and the Bengals would get together. That was Marvin Lewis's gig. He could not keep this team calm. And he's a good coach.
Listen, I get it. I can't imagine. And this is where I say, as far as chicanery and a disaster goes, I mean, they allegedly didn't have like a scouting staff.
Wow.
I mean, how on earth do you? So yes, there
Mike
were a lot
Brown.
of things. There were a lot of things stacked against them. But at the end of the day, he was 131 and 129 with 3 ties, and he went 0-7 in the playoffs. And if you marry Marvin Lewis to the Detroit Lions, this is a guy with a good bulk of the longest drought without making the playoffs for a team currently is the Cincinnati Bengals without a playoff win. And that goes back to 1990. The second longest drought is the Detroit Lions in 1991. You want to marry those two.
No. No. You got to start fresh, man.
You have to.
It's
Period.
not retread central anymore. There's too many good guys out there. There's too many good guys. Now, let me ask you about Dan Campbell. You know your stuff. Mm-hmm. Would you bring him in, or do you have someone else in mind still?
All right.
What's your number one?
You know what? I liked Saleh as well. I did. I liked Saleh as well. I like Bieniemy. I think the league today, and I remember talking to you about this a few years ago. I don't know how anybody back then people were still arguing it. Today, I don't think anybody argues it. It's not about defense anymore. Forget defense.
Yeah.
Like seriously, forget defense.
What happened to defense win games? Look what happened. Look what happened on Saturday. What happened to that Rams defense?
They punish defenders. I mean, I feel sorry for guys playing defense. You can overcome some of the deficiencies defensively if your offense is humming. I mean, that's the way the league is. College football certainly is that way. Now, in regards to Campbell, if I'm given the choice between Marv Lewis and Campbell, I'll take Campbell all day. All day. And my logic is this. I know what you're getting in Marvin Lewis. I know what Marvin Lewis is, okay? I don't know what Dan Campbell is.
Right.
Everybody's talking about him, highly. I mean, there's a reason for that.
He looks like a football guy. He oozes football. I mean, you're going to respect that guy. He don't look like Patricia. I
never had a chance to talk to him or anything when he was here. I mean, I remember him playing, and he had a small role in the infamous 08 team. But Maz, you know what? I think a lot of people want to be wowed around here, and I don't know if that's possible. I don't know if it's possible to wow people around here by bringing in somebody. I really don't.
We're like beaten kids.
Oh, there's no doubt about it.
We're afraid to even look up and see who's looking at us. We've been abused. It's a sad thing, man, to be a Lions fan. As much as I love them. Come on, man. They're not a good. They're the worst organization in sports. Can we say that? Don't you? You have to agree. Aren't they the worst?
Historically, yes. Historically, I don't know how you could argue it. I don't see it, Mez. This is why I'm one of those people, though. I cannot believe that it's always going to be this way. I refuse to believe it, and I'm not going to hang Sheila for the mistakes that her father made. I don't think that's fair. I would hope that I wouldn't be hanged for mistakes that my father made, and I pray to God that my kids aren't hung for mistakes that their dad made. You know what I mean?
You mean smoking meat too much?
Yeah, well, that. But I mean, and so I'm trying to look at this as a free pass. The one thing that Sheila said to me that really jumped out, and I've heard her mention this in a couple different ways, a couple different times. Okay, they get what they are. They get what people say about them. And to me,
do you really think that?
They have to, don't they?
They're not in our shoes, man.
They have to.
They're not wanting.
Here's the thing. Like, Maz, and Lion fans will get mad at you for saying that, or they'll get mad at me for saying this. They've been a wretched franchise.
Yeah.
Both things can be true. You can love the Lions, but you can accept fact and say, they've been a wretched franchise. Now, I refuse to believe it's always going to be that way. I cannot. My brain doesn't work that way. And there are so many. The Detroit Red Wings were a wretched franchise not that long ago. I was here when people were giving out cars to entice them to come to Joe Louis Arena, okay?
Yep.
The Golden State Warriors were a wretched, nothing franchise.
They had a couple of good years with Al Attles back in the 70s. That was it.
Run TMC. Remember the whole Run TMC?
They had the Rick Barry era, which was they won a championship back then.
So they had some cute little, but I mean they've been the New Jersey Devils, your backyard, okay? Mickey Mouse organization
from Wayne Gretzky,
himself, right? Yeah, it's all about getting that guy in, whether it be Lou Lamoriello, whether it be Steve Kerr, whoever the case may be. I mean, the New England Patriots were a nothing franchise.
They were nothing.
They went to the Super Bowl, got their ass kicked once. They went to another Super Bowl, lost by a couple touchdowns. So when I hear people say, the Lions stink and they're always going to stink, I can't buy that. Logically, I can't, because I've seen too many other franchises turn it around by getting the right people in place.
Look at the Cleveland Browns, man. Mm-hmm. If yesterday didn't tell you that there is a little hope, but I look back and they're still an expansion team. That Cleveland Browns team is an expansion team. The real Cleveland Browns are parading around as the Baltimore Ravens, as we know.
Sure.
So I can't even compare the Lions to the Browns. The Browns actually lost their team. They left town. How many people here would actually like the Lions to leave town and maybe give us a new expansion team? Too many. But the Cleveland Browns, they finally got it right. They hired Kevin Stefanski. The guy looks okay. 1 year in, he's got him. I think they're a chance. Ready? I think they can go to the Super Bowl next year.
Oh, I don't think that's crazy.
That's a well-built team.
I agree with you. Baker Mayfield is proving a lot of people wrong, including yours truly.
He's solid.
I wasn't sure about that guy, and
he's got balls, man.
Oh, heck yeah!
But so does Matthew Stafford.
I feel so sorry for Matthew Stafford.
Doesn't it suck? Look how many teams, look how many quarterbacks have won a playoff game in the Matthew Stafford era. You can go back and look. It's like, just keep ringing them up. Tom Brady is 14-2 in championship games.
I saw a number this morning. I saw a number. I don't know how true this is, and I didn't have time, but somebody said 38 different quarterbacks have won a playoff game during Matthew Stafford's time, and you just shake your head. It's disgusting. So Dan Campbell doesn't exactly. It doesn't make me sing Kumbaya and have a parade, throw a party or anything like that. But I'll say it again. For me, I would much rather go with an unknown with the kind of resume that this guy has than to go through Marv Lewis. If those are my choices, I'll go with the unknown. I know what Marv Lewis is. I know that Marv Lewis wasn't good enough. And I think part of it, Maz, too, one of the strengths that everybody talks about is how Coach Campbell unifies the room, and everybody's going under the banner. There is a psychological, it's almost like the Lions as a roster have to sit on a couch and get some stuff out to a psychologist right now after the last couple of years.
You're
really,
not kidding, man. Are you okay that he wasn't a coordinator? People keep bringing up that he's a coordinator. We're not hiring a guy that has coordinator skill, coordinator resume. The last guy that happened to be Rod Marinelli. Yeah. We gave Rod Marinelli an opportunity to come here, and I forgot he wasn't a coordinator, but he was a defensive line guy for all of those years.
Coach him up.
And no one gave him a chance.
Pad level.
Except us.
Pad level.
Shovel.
Coach him up.
Shovel.
His pick is sharp. No, you know what? It would if he didn't have the 12-game interim experience under just a shit show.
Sure was.
Situation down in Miami. That was a mess.
It was. He got 5 wins out of it. He could have had quite a few more.
It's incredible to me. I mean, really, all jokes aside, it's incredible to me that they even went 5-7. Lynn said, "Why do you think we hired him?" You want to go first there? I have my thoughts. Why do you think they put the circle around Dan Campbell and said, this is our guy? This is just a theory. I don't know for sure if this is true, but I'm intrigued to hear what you have to think.
I think he's a Chris Spielman kind of guy. I think Chris Spielman is involved in this. And we love Chris Spielman.
Heavily.
I think it's all Chris Spielman. I say Chris Spielman looked at the Fords, looked at Rod Wood and said, this guy gets it. This guy will get the respect. Because would you not respect Chris Spielman if he's talking to you?
Still.
Dan Campbell kind of reminds me of that kind of mold. Not the same kind of player, a tight end versus a linebacker, but he reminds me of that kind of guy that I'm going to listen to this guy. And I don't think he's the kind of guy that's going to walk around and scream at people like Matt Patricia did. I heard that he came in day one, red-faced, screaming.
I watched it.
Yeah.
I'll tell you about it. It was sick. Yeah.
That didn't go from Gentleman Jim Caldwell.
No.
I mean, from 0 to 100.
Yeah.
Dan Campbell is not going to do that. I know he's not. That's my take. I think he's a Chris Spielman type of guy.
I think that's fair. I'll go back to the analogy that I just used. He is coming in here and he's going to play psychiatrist and he's going to get their minds right again, and he's going to get everybody on the same page. And he's there are some fences that probably need to be mended and everything. Maz, you brought it up. I kid you not. The very first practice at camp, it was probably, and I'm sure you've heard this story. Mm-hmm. I'm not joking. It may have been a minute in, and Patricia goes on a tirade in the middle of the field that you can hear plain as day. And it's funny because our mutual friend Mike O'Hara is like sitting in the top row watching practice, and everybody kind of turned around and looked at Mike. Like, we didn't even have to say it. Like, Mike, have you ever seen this? And Mike just, like, without even being asked, just goes, nope. Nope, there's never been anything like this at camp. And it was, and I get what Patricia was trying to do now. And let me make this clear. I've said this before. I'll say it again. I liked Matt Patricia. I did.
Well, you got to work with him.
He was a good dude. He was human. The way he handled men, I didn't agree with at all. I mean, they're men. They're professional athletes. Right. You don't need to be Johnny College, rah. I'm going to get up in your grill, 3 yards in a cloud of dust. Grab the face mask and stuff like that.
He ain't Nick Saban, man, doing that.
No, and you can't do that to men. You just can't do it.
And not a first-year guy that's never had a head coaching experience.
Yeah,
you don't just come in and do that. He lost. I think he lost the team that day, and he lost certain players. Obviously, he got rid of them.
The cancer spread too. You know it did.
Of course it did.
It did. Yeah.
They lost a lot of good men off that team.
All right, a couple comments off of Facebook. Somebody mentioned Tebow has more playoff wins.
He does.
That overtime win.
That was
Remember
a great pass.
Brock Osweiler.
Oh.
Now I'm sick to my stomach. Steve said, I think Saleh is a Spielman type of guy as well. Eric said T.J. Yates. That doesn't hurt. Steve said, I love what Breeze said about D.C. That's a strong vote of confidence in my book. Hey, listen, I'm going to say I'm not against it. Of the choices that are out there, okay? Again, to me, this is just one man's opinion. I think it was, do we go with Marvin Lewis? Do we go with D.C.? I'll take D.C. every single day. I know what Marv Lewis was. And when you have to try to justify somebody by saying, but, I think you already lost the argument.
How about the other guys, like Art, from the Tennessee Titans? Was it Smith?
Yeah, Arthur Smith.
Arthur Smith. He went to Atlanta. Guys like that. Did you have anyone like that in mind? How about college-wise?
You know what?
Matt Campbell.
For me, Maz, like, when you're talking about a lot of coaches like this, all you're talking about, let's be perfectly blunt, and I've always wanted to be honest in this regard. I don't know the first damn thing about these guys other than what I read.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Course.
So and
we're
that's
not studying them.
Yeah. So and so when these names come up, I'm sure nerds like us, we start, studying everything we can about them. But I don't know about what their calling card is, what their tendency is, how they are in the room, and that's where you have to kind of defer to guys, as Steve said. You have to defer to guys like Drew Brees. Well, what does Drew Brees say about this guy? You know, and things like that.
I'm sure they got good recommendations from these kind of guys.
Yeah.
I don't think they left a stone unturned, to be honest with you.
No, I'm with you. And that's and let's be honest. I mean, when we come back, I want to get your take on this. It's not like the Lions have a line of credit with their fan base, okay? Mm-hmm. I mean, is there anybody that would have made you happy? I mean, honestly, is there anybody, including Saleh? We'll talk about that when we come back. Tom Mazaway sitting in today. What a pleasure this is. Joik's got the holiday off. He'll be back tomorrow. So glad you could join us Monday morning, Woodward Sports.
I'm looking to bring on another HVAC tech right now.
We are recruiting 5 to 10 techs a month.
We're looking to grow and expand.
Every new tech we hire is from Northwestern Tech.
The hands-on training is fantastic.
They're always my first call.
We love hiring Northwestern Tech grads.
They come out trained and ready to work.
Our program is only 10.5 months, and our next classes are starting soon. So why wait?
I'm looking to hire
a graduate of Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
I love these commercials.
All right, what's up? Glad you could join us on a Monday morning. We'll get into the playoff action. Wings dropping the puck at noon today as well. Nice to see him get a win over the weekend. There aren't going to be many this year, but I'll tell you what, in a couple years, we're going to be laughing at this era. Steve Yzerman is doing it right. I'm intrigued to get Maz's take on that in just a little bit. A couple comments, Maz, before we talk about the Lions' credit line or lack thereof. Kenny said he went straight Junction Boys on the team from day one. It was culture shock. There's no other way to say that. It was culture shock.
No question, man. And he came in with no cred.
Yeah.
What are you? You're Bill Belichick's guy. How many points did he give up to the Philadelphia Eagles, the Super Bowl prior to coming here? That defense, didn't Tom Brady throw for 500 yards against that vaunted defense?
It's interesting because, hindsight is always 20/20. We should have figured it out game one. I mean, what happened to Sam Darnold and the Jets in game
my God,
one?
yeah.
That was a disaster.
Wasn't that like a Monday night game
yes,
as
it
well?
was. Yeah. Unbelievable.
That started us off.
And things really worked out for Sam Darnold and the Jets up to this point.
Hey, they'll be back. Do you think Sam could be saved? Where's Bischoff? I need Bischoff.
I wish Scott was here. Scott, if you're watching, can you let me know? I can't believe that a guy that was that touted can be that bad. You have to wonder if it's now in between his ears. Like with guys like that, because guys get ruined. Here, you know what? I'm going to give you another example.
Didn't he say he saw a ghost?
I thought, the ghost. That was great. Do you Akili Smith?
Of
I
course.
thought Akili Smith was so good.
Oregon.
What the hell happened?
Bengals.
What? Yeah,
Bengals.
that's...
Bengals. It depends where these guys go, Shawnee.
Somebody might say John Joseph Harrington as well, but
yeah.
Somebody...
I mean, come on, man.
I never liked him. I never liked him. I swear to God.
You just didn't like that he played the piano and he choked a couple strawberries.
I didn't like him. I didn't think he was a gamer. Honestly, I never from day one. And you know what? I remember vividly talking on the air. I said I'm going to give him 2 years. It's not fair to jump on a guy right away and all that stuff. And after 2 years, I think what drives people nuts is around here, whether we want to admit it or not. You have all the evidence that you can see about a particular guy, but people don't want to admit it.
Yeah.
And so they get mad at Maz or they get mad at Sean
always
for
the
telling
media's
you
fault.
It's never going to happen.
Yeah.
I remember going through that with the Tigers a few years ago. It was like, and you and I had conversations like that. I was like, guys, this is over. Like, the sooner that we accept it, we all have to show, why are you being a hater? Hate has nothing to do with it. It's over. It was a fun era, but it's time to move forward, And it just, some people get mad at you, and that's okay.
Let me ask you this.
I'll be the bad guy.
Go back to Joey.
Yeah.
And we had Mooch here.
Yeah.
Supposedly, Mooch didn't want him. Am I correct?
Yeah. Neither did the first coach. Neither did, trust me. You were up in Saginaw for that, weren't you?
Of course.
It was.
I had my foot run over.
I'll never. Like, I remember Marty,
the bar is high.
Yeah. I like those guys. Like, first it was Charlie Batch. I remember them watching Charlie Batch throw, and they you couldn't hide it. You couldn't hide it. And then building up to that, it was like. Mike McMahon's a guy that he fell in love with Mike McMahon. Do you remember? He really did.
Rutgers own.
He fell in love with Mike McMahon, and he was willing to go to war with him. And then when the Joey thing happened, it was that was ugly.
Not good, man. But it's these teams, Sean. Who are the teams that we're talking about? We're talking about the New York Jets. We're talking about the Lions. We're talking about the Bengals. These kids who might have had an opportunity to be really good somewhere else get drafted by these teams. I keep going back, and I feel bad. I feel bad on draft days. God forbid they did it at the Bellagio this past year. I thought the Lions draft pick would have jumped in the Bellagio fountain. Who wants to be drafted by this team? Well, I mean, honestly, how do you feel coming out of college? You're going to Detroit, man. How do you feel?
It hurts. You know what? I wish that we would find a way to get a guy like Baker with his moxie that says, I don't care if I'm going to Cleveland.
Balls.
We're going to make this work. We're going to make this work.
Yeah.
I mean, and obviously you have to do it in concert with having, legitimate general manager in place and all that stuff. But here's the thing. Let's go back, Maz. And a lot of people have echoed this. let's say that the Lions went with, I think it's safe to say the popular pick was Saleh.
Absolutely.
They went with Saleh, right?
Yeah.
Let's say that they went with Robert Saleh. How many people would legitimately give the Lions A, credit, and B, this is going to be the first step of turning this franchise around? How many people would do that?
I believe 75% of
Do you really?
I do. I
can't say you're wrong. You know that.
I mean, and people laugh at us. Oh, just because he lived here doesn't mean that he should be our general manager.
Mm-hmm.
I like the guy. I don't care if he's from Dearborn
Sure.
or from Timbuktu.
Sure.
I just thought he's a football guy. And I really believe he's going to be a terrific coach. And look, I'm a Jet fan.
Mm-hmm.
But let's compare teams. The Jets won a Super Bowl as an AFL team. They have done crap as an NFL team. Yeah, they've been to a few championship games. But they've won the division once all these years since the Super Bowl era. So I root for the Jets. I root for the Lions. Thank God I got the Giants. Thank God I got the Giants. Not that they're killing anything. But those two teams are very similar, man. And you got Sam Darnold knocking his head around in New York, seeing ghosts against the Patriots a couple of Thanksgiving days ago. You remember that game?
Yes.
I really believe, and I'd love to get Scott's opinion on this, Scott Bischoff's. I think he's salvageable. I really believe as long as Saleh brings the right guy here to help coach this kid up, I think he's very salvageable. And if I'm the Jets, I'm taking Devontae Smith with my pick.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I'm not taking a quarterback.
No, and it's
I'm
fun.
not.
I remember back in, Richard Todd, they had some good teams with that.
Yeah.
And Kenny O'Brien, they had some good.
Well, they took Kenny O'Brien over who? Dan Marino.
Dan Marino, that 83
Miami had the
draft.
next pick. It took them, you have 15 minutes?
Yeah.
Jets take Ken O'Brien.
They had
Dolphins take Dan Marino.
They had some great games back then.
Oh my God!
They
Remember
really
those 45-42 Wesley Walker games?
They had some great.
They
had
did.
some great games.
But let's face it, Miami got the better of that.
Yeah,
deal.
I think that's safe. Mike said, "Has any other franchise buried more coaches or players than the Lions?"
No.
It is. I don't care what anybody says. I don't think people outside of our area, out in other NFL towns, get how bad the Lions are. And historically, I know I've told you this before. I'm not going to say his name, but a very prominent broadcaster who broadcasts for a national football team. I had a conversation with him a few years ago where we were talking about the Lions, and he was talking on the surface of how he knows they were bad and everything. And I said to him, the Lions have one playoff win, right? And he literally, he didn't believe me.
No.
He didn't believe me. And I go, I almost said his name, so I'm glad I caught myself.
Come on, say his name.
No, I'm not going to do that. But I said, I said, I want you to take the time to look back, like fact check me right now. In the Super Bowl era, the Lions have one playoff win. And so he looked it up, and he was like, holy crap. Didn't even know. And that's, I say that to people all the time. Other people don't know how bad this franchise has been. They don't know. And I my advice to the Lions would be this. Instead of getting agitated at people talking about what you've been, accept what you've been and get better.
Yeah.
And the quickest way to make people stop saying you've been the worst franchise in the National Football League.
Do better.
Is to stop being the worst franchise in the National Football League.
Well, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
And this is just a dumb question. The NFL makes it easy to get better.
Absolutely.
It's a parity league.
100%.
You're supposed to make the playoffs within a 5-year territory. You're supposed to be good and competitive. What the hell, man? What? I was always the guy that said, you can't blame the owners. The owners want to win. They do. But do you blame the owners?
I've always
what
blamed,
else is there?
I've always blamed Mr. Ford. His mistakes were hiring the wrong people, showing too much loyalty, and then in the case of Matt Millen, I will keep this until my grave, I think stubborn came into play. Oh yeah? Well, I'll show you people. I mean, really,
I'll re-sign him.
What finally prompted him to make the move? It was his own son saying at that meeting, this guy's got to go. We have to get rid of this guy. I mean, it is insane when you think about it that he was kept on as long as he was, and as you mentioned, got a new contract. In my humble opinion, I don't know this 100% to be sure, I felt that was Mr. Ford saying, nobody is going to tell me how to run my team. Screw you. I'll show you. That was always my impression.
But son, he's my lunch partner. I mean, we do things together. You know, he's taking me on a motorcycle ride. God bless it. Listen, back when they hired him, I remember we were at the auto show. Mm-hmm. I was with WJR, and we heard the rumors. Matt Millen's coming to town. Matt Millen's coming to town. And I always pushed for Bill Parcells. I'm a Bill Parcells guy.
Sure, absolutely. How can...
I mean...
Bill Parcells, Matt Millen. But go
ahead.
Let
me ask you this: as a rumor, was it ever true that we were very close to getting Bill Parcells to run here?
I don't know.
Have you heard that?
No. You know what? We should ask a couple people. There are people that would probably know the answer to that.
I had a couple people tell me, Maz, it was really close that Bill Parcells was going to come here, and then they went to the Matt Millen hire. And guess what? I bought in.
Did you?
I bought in.
I did.
And I told everyone, he's got it.
Yeah.
There's no question about it. This guy is going to put us on the map. He knows his crap. He knows his stuff. So you can't trust me as far as you can throw me, I guess.
No, but, I mean, look, we're all going to miss things. I was cautious about Millen from day one, and it didn't take long for all of us to figure it out. The thing about Millen was it was something different, and sometimes something different is good, and sometimes it turns out to be worse. I mean, it is unbelievable how bad that franchise was. I mean, I don't think enough is said about it. How absolutely wretched he was at that job. You know, and I'll say the same thing.
Why did he fail?
Tom, to me, great guy. Matt Millen is
the best.
I mean, really, and people get mad when I say that. I hammered him as much as anybody. If you remember talk radio back then, okay? He was always cool to me. And you know what? One time he told me, I'll never forget it. He got me in a fake headlock. And Matt's true story, he goes, I hate you. And I was like, and he goes, I hate you because I can't hate you. He goes, you've never gotten personal with me. I'll never forget. And I go,
that's cool.
I'm never going to get personal with you.
That's cool.
Never. I don't care what you do in your private life.
The guy he's a gem.
Yeah.
And he knows his football, man. And he was a man of men on the football field. Sure. He had the resume, if you ask me.
Yeah.
He had it. That's what I look at Dan Campbell as. But Dan Campbell has got coaching experience now. I think Matt Millen blew it by bringing Marty Morningweg, as his first hire. If he brings anybody but that guy, and I remember we were at the Super Bowl when we had the intro. He did the intro. Everybody's at the Super Bowl on press row, and we go in to watch this press conference. And he says, the bar is high. It's high. You remember? It's high. People were looking at each other like, is this a comedy show?
I'm hacked off.
Yeah. I mean,
hacked off.
I mean, that day I'm like, what the hell? Who did we just hire? He hired a clown. If he hires anybody else, who knows? It might be different. He was, I have to share this. I was at Lions practice at the Silverdome once, and I was standing with Killer, and Killer was doing Killer things talking to Marty. His soul. And Marty like looked, and you know, you got the dip thing in your pants, right? And Marty goes like this. Marty like looks at me and he goes, "What you got there?" I'm like looking around going, and I go, "Oh, dip." And he goes, "Oh yeah, what kind you got?" I was like, "Kodiak." Yeah. You got one? He bumped a dip off of me. So I was like, I like this guy. Yeah.
I like this guy.
That's
and everything.
Pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
But he was in so far over his head. It was
holy crow.
And it's
so two newbies going at it together. That's like you and me going to try to run the team.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Know what you are. I agree with you. I mean, the people in our business that think that they could go and run a professional franchise make me laugh.
Well, that's
it
me.
is just.
I think I could.
Oh no.
With help, bro. With help.
Well, you know what you'd have to do? You get your Disner. Get your Holmes, get your coach, and then you can sit back kind of like Wood. Okay.
I'm getting Parcells. I don't care if he's 80. I'm getting Parcells. He's going to help me get through this.
Well, I've used the Parcells quote a lot when he was in New England.
Shopping
he said,
for the groceries,
yeah,
baby.
Why would you do that?
Yeah.
If I'm cooking for you,
Yeah.
let me do the shopping.
Absolutely.
And that's kind of the way that I feel. I don't know how much Holmes had a say in this and how much he knows Campbell.
Yeah.
I hope that was something on his menu. I like this guy, yeah. Because I don't care what anybody says. I mean, you're asking for trouble. I'm not saying it has to be an arranged marriage or anything like that, but you're asking for trouble if you bring in one guy who thinks this way fundamentally and you bring in another guy that thinks that way fundamentally.
Now, really,
I hope they're on the same page.
But what are we thinking right now? We're thinking as Lion fans who've been beaten, these guys probably don't even know each other.
That's my point. You got it. That's why, Maz, I'll say again, I mean, like we started the segment, I don't think the Lions could have done anything that would have won over the public masses because they're the Lions.
Unless Holmes brought who? Sean McVay with him.
Yeah, right?
How great would that have been?
Unbelievable.
That would have been a sales job and a half.
Yeah.
I would have given Sean McVay a couple of Ford dealers to come here. Dealerships. They print money, man. They print money. Go get the best guy. I don't give a damn who it is. Go get the best guy.
Somebody said, a couple comments on here. The suffering never ends from Lion fans. That comes from Kevin. Tom said the Lions have been shampoo, rinse, and repeat since 2001. If the new regime does not admit a new quarterback is needed, it's shampoo. Well, we can talk about that. I know Joyke and I have talked about that. I'll get Maz's thoughts. I do want to get a little bit of Red Wings in before we talk about the playoffs. Like, I'll tell you point blank, if you're waiting for us to talk playoffs, we'll do that afternoon. Maz, I know you know this. I've never understood why somebody would want to talk. Art, you and I were talking about this before the show started. Why would somebody say, well, we're going to talk Wings afternoon? The Wings are playing at noon.
Yeah.
Anybody that cares to talk about the Wings are going to be watching the damn Wings. So we want to get that in. Afternoon is going to be all things NFL playoffs.
Oh, God, yeah.
Not only, and this guy is an NFL guy through and through.
Amen.
Not only what happened yesterday and Saturday, but what might transpire for championship weekend. I love championship weekend. It might be my favorite weekend on the NFL calendar, and I'll tell you why as well coming up. Don't go anywhere. Tom Mazaway, Sean Baligian, so glad you could join us, Woodward Sports. Never get sick of that commercial. Good stuff. I love how they put that together, the commercial with Joyke and the commercial with Darren McCarty as well.
I love Art getting slammed against the glass. That was fun. I love those spots. Those ESPN spots were phenomenal. Phenomenal.
Tom said O'Brien cooked and shopped in Houston. It doesn't work unless the coach is elite. You know what the problem is? You picked the wrong cook. This is a guy, and there's another perfect example. If you're the Houston Texans, okay, at some point in time, long before it eventually happened, you have to look at this and say to yourself, this guy's a disaster. He's hurting our franchise. Yeah. And that, like, you have to be willing to cut bait. And it's interesting that you brought that up, Tom, because that's what happened with Matt Millen. I mean, there were so many signs that screamed to. I mean, let's be perfectly blunt, Maz. By the time 2005 hit, I don't think there were many people that thought this is going to happen for this guy and this regime. Okay, and you had almost 3 more years after that.
I know.
It's insane. Now there were always those people, and I remember before the last season there were some people that I actually really respect that were going, well, this team's better than I think you guys are giving it credit for. We can't overlook that they started out 6-2 last year, and it's like, but they went 1-7 down the stretch and looked miserable. Like, knock it off. There was a talent problem with the 2008 Detroit Lions. Period. End of story. And if you don't believe me, go look at it. But to Tom's point, the cook that they got, they should have figured out after his first few meals.
He was a bad cook.
This is a bad cook.
Yeah, he's a
you know
bad
what
cook.
I mean?
He's a short order cook in a fancy restaurant.
Yeah.
That was not the guy, not the place for him to be. They should have cut bait long before that. But as we talked about, Mr. Ford has loyalty. He's a loyal type of guy, and unfortunately, it cost us a lot of years that way. And I want to bring up Calvin Johnson for a second while we're talking about loyalty.
Yes.
Here's a guy that's got a shot to get in the Hall of Fame on the first ballot. He might not, but he will get in eventually.
No question.
If he doesn't get in this year.
No question.
I think he is so pissed at this team that he might go in as a Georgia Tech Yellow Jacket. I mean, that's how pissed he is. And I'm going to bring it back to Barry. I know Barry shortchanged the Lions and Lion fans. He quit overnight. And I was on WJR that night with Dickerson and Courtney. We broke that story that night. We called guys in Saginaw, woke them up and said, Barry retired? Barry retired? People coming on, Mike Compton, all of these guys. What? What are you talking about? But to make him pay back that money and to make Calvin Johnson pay back that piddly money, like I said, the Fords print money. You don't do that.
It's a horrible look.
You don't do that. And guess what? It's karma, baby. It's karma. And you know what? Who suffers? Us.
It's a horrible
Lion
look.
fans.
I don't care what
It's
anybody
horrible.
says. Horrible look. Right?
You don't do
Make
that.
it right. Make it.
It's too late, man.
Joik and I have talked about this 100 times. I'm serious, and this will be 101, and I'll say it till I'm Honolulu blue in the face. You got to make that right. I mean, and I don't think it's too late. I really don't. I think, first of all, time heals wounds. It does. But you know what will help heal those wounds a lot quicker is if you very quietly write a check to Calvin and say, we want you back in the family.
Yeah.
You feel like something was taken from you, and you know what? This is wrong. This is wrong. I get it's business. I get it's a contract, but some things are bigger than business and all of that. Let's make this right. Bring him back in the family. Do it now.
Same thing with Barry. Go back in the day when they took the money from Barry. You could have said, we're not going to take your money, but we expect you to be here when we want you to be here. We expect you to go into Silverdome, go into Ford Field, shake hands on Sundays like Herman Moore, like all these guys, like they bring the players back to do. You're still working for us. We paid you and you quit. But we expect you to still be a Detroit Lion and to have our back when we need you, to talk good about us. What do you think? You think people are coming here after seeing that crap? People don't want to come here. Players don't want to come here. Players leave here with a chip on their shoulder saying, thank God we're out of that place. That's embarrassing, man.
You know, one thing that has changed, and if you really, really want to change it, and Tom, you know this because the guys, back when you were covering and back when I was first covering and things like that, the guys that were here before felt like they were unwanted forever, okay? And I told Joik this story, and Joik can attest to this as well. The fact that they are actually reaching out to the alums and bringing the alums back and having them be the honorary captain or just bringing them back for the weekend and everything. Benny Blades was a guy I never thought I'd ever see at a Lions game again. And I loved Benny Blades.
Great to see him.
Loved Benny. I love Benny as a player. And as you remember, Benny was a guy that if you wanted to know what was going on, you wanted to go to get a good soundbite, go to the corner where Brett Perriman and Benny Blades were. Because they're going to give you the best quotes and everything. And it was interesting because Benny literally told me to my face, this is so overdue what they're doing. There's a whole generation of guys that have felt alienated.
Yeah.
And you feel like, wow, there's a home here. And they feel like they appreciate us and they want us here. And he was one of but many that felt that way. And I don't care what anybody says. That crap is important. That is PR stuff. And if that's something that the Lions are concerned about, and Mr. Wood has shown that that's something that he's concerned about, okay, do it to one of your most prominent players. Make this right. I don't care how. Even if he says no, keep calling him saying, I got a check for you. Will you just come down here and pick up this check?
Yeah.
Because to me, Maz, it's principle. It is. It's principle.
Enough of this crap that Wood says he hasn't reached out to us. We've reached out to him. It's like my daughters arguing at home. I don't give a damn who didn't vacuum the back room. Just get it done.
Yeah.
Get it done. I don't want he said. Get the man in here. That's a warrior that you crapped on. Make it right.
Some comments from the people. I want to get your take on the Wings in just a second. I want to get to this. Scott said, how do you explain 3 of the last 4 teams in the playoffs having high-paid quarterbacks? This league is so geared towards the quarterback now. I mean, period. I know he was talking to somebody else, but this game is so geared to the quarterback now, it's absurd. I mean, the rules have been changed. The way the game is called has been changed. They want the pretty offenses. They want the pretty quarterbacks. Kenny said, give the man, CJ, his $1 million back and make it right. It's that simple.
It's more than $1 million.
Yeah, whatever. I don't care what it is. I'm with you.
Yeah.
I think plenty of GM candidates simply wouldn't come here based solely on ownership and these same stories. And I think the Lions are trying to change the narrative about the way that they treat people and things like that. And this is where, and I know a lot of people don't agree with me, I'm not going to say that Sheila is just like her dad until she shows me she's just like her dad. I don't think that's fair. I don't think that.
Her dad is not a bad man.
No.
Her dad is a good man. He was a good man.
He was a terrible owner. Terrible. I mean, there's no other way to say that. He was a terrible owner.
He did sign on the dotted line when President Kennedy was assassinated.
Yeah, I mean
people talk about the Bobby Lane curse.
No other. And that's, to me, I keep saying this. If you want to be perceived differently, then you have to do differently.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not that difficult.
They're not going to sell. Never.
No,
you don't sell a cash machine. You don't.
I have that conversation. Yeah. I know you have as well. More times, I had a very, very spirited conversation on Twitter a couple months ago with somebody that the problem was twofold. Number one, they didn't know what they were talking about, which makes it difficult. Number two, he was adamant that we could force the Fords to sell.
Oh, that's nice.
And I said, how? How? Stop going to games.
Oh yeah. That'll work.
It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
people aren't going to stop going to games. I don't know what to tell you. It's never going to happen.
Never.
No. Tom, and I'll tell you this much. As they've bruised my soul and literally taken years off my life, I'm looking forward to this fall when I have an opportunity to go to a game with my kids again.
I've so missed going to a live sporting event again
I want
with
to go
people.
Again. Yes,
Did you see Lambeau over
so
the weekend?
Cool. Yeah.
Only 9,000 fans? It sounded like 100,000 fans.
It was great. Buffalo.
And Aaron Rodgers, first thing out of his mouth is, man, coming out of that tunnel, boy, did it feel good to have people in that stand.
KC had their fans there. We're going to talk.
They've had them all year.
Yeah. We're going to talk a lot of playoffs. I mean, hour number 2 is going to be all playoffs. Recapping what happened yesterday. Looking forward to championship weekend. And here's the interesting thing, Maz. Before we do that, I gotta get your take on where the Wings are at, because I think I've said this for years. I think a lot of times if you take the time to listen to a coach or a general manager, more often than not, he'll give you the answer that you're looking for. It might not be the answer that you wanted to hear,
right?
But he's going to give you the answer. I think Steve Yzerman sitting in front of people the way he did on April 19th, 2019, and saying what he did should have resonated more with people. I get that.
You don't think it did?
I don't think it did. Because I think people just thought that Yzerman would come here and maybe there would be a down here, but he'd snap his fingers and everything would be okay.
Yeah.
And it's I'm still going through conversations with people this year that are saying, Well, I think the Red Wings are better than you're giving them credit for. No, they aren't. They're not
they
good.
Could be worse.
And it's by design. It really is. But it's nice to see them win. Nice win the other night, right?
What sucks is when you lose like they did last year, the worst team in hockey by, 20 points?
It wasn't even close.
And not to get a number 1 or number 2 pick is a shame. To not get that kid the Rangers got. What's it, Lafreniere. I hope that doesn't come back and really haunt the hell out of us. I hope Stevie pulled a Kirk Muller out, because when the Devils lost out to Mario Lemieux, when they had a home and home with the Penguins the last 2 games of the year, and the Penguins were sending out you on the ice with with Art.
Ugly.
Yeah, throwing themselves on the ice, flipping over like turtles, letting the Devils sweep the home and home series to lose out on that number 1 pick to get Mario Lemieux. But they got Kirk Muller. Kirk Muller turned out to be a hell of a player. 20 years in the league, coach now, GM, whatever the hell he's doing.
Coach. Assistant coach.
I hope the Red Wings got their guy that's going to make us forget what happened last year.
And you know what? That's where it's at. I mean, to me, it is when you look at the way that this team is constructed this year and all those contracts that they can move at the end of this year, it's just smart. It's going to take time. And I like what he said. This isn't going to happen overnight. And I'm going to implore people to be patient. But we don't want to get the Wings back to maybe they'll get in the playoff. We want to get them back to that era that everybody was accustomed to. And you had a front row seat for that.
Absolutely,
that was 97, 98, they were still at your radio station and everything.
Sure were.
I mean, it was a magical time.
They were the sports station back in the day, WJR, until they decided not to do it. They went to CBS Radio, and the rest is history. But nonetheless, Darren's been here a million times talking about Yzerman, and he beams when he talks about Yzerman. He knows what he's doing, guys. He knows what he's doing. He brought in enough people this year, enough players this year, to make them competitive. Because last year they weren't competitive. You got new goaltenders. Jimmy Howard, by the way, retired?
Yeah, that sounds that way, yeah.
They brought people in that could play the game, that are going to give you something to look forward to. They already won a game, and the first game, they were very competitive against the Hurricanes. That first game. No offense, but competitive enough. We'll see what happens today against the Blue Jackets.
Yeah, puck drops in just a couple minutes, so we'll say goodbye to all our Wings fans because I know that they're going to be tuning into that. But
they might listen to us and watch the game.
You know what it comes down to as well, Maz, is when you take a look at what he did in Tampa, he inherited a situation that had a young Victor Hedman and a young Steven Stamkos. He did not walk into that here. That's something that they have to pick up yet. It's going to take some time. Of all the teams, though, I don't think it's even close, in my opinion. The team that I have the most faith in and the guy that I have the most faith in is Steve Yzerman, because I watched him do it in Tampa. I watched it, and it took time. And they had their lumps where they went up and then went back down, and then they got a couple of high draft choices and then went back up, and then they had their heart broken, and then they won the Stanley Cup, and it is their staying power for years there.
They're the class still.
And that's what he wants to do here.
I hope it happens, man.
Mike said they will get better every year. Keep betting the over on their season points. And Steve, I trust and bet. I think that's fair. They're gonna, and you know what? They're still gonna be bad this year. But like you said, Maz, they were historically bad last year.
They were Lions-esque.
Their goal differential was going to absolutely obliterate the record in the National Hockey League for lowest goal differential. It's incredible. All right, so bye to our Wings fans. I'm sure you guys are all going to go bye-bye now.
They're a home underdog today, by the way.
Yeah, to a Columbus team that has struggled so far.
Minus 175. That means bet 100 on them, win 175, folks. Not that I'm telling you to bet.
Oh, look at this.
What do you got?
Let's see. Fabry and Adam Ernie are out today. COVID protocol. Rasmussen and Franz Nielsen are in. There you go. Thank you,
don't
Art.
bet them.
Appreciate it.
Don't bet them then.
Appreciate it. We'll see. We'll see how that works.
How come the Pistons aren't playing a day game? That usually
I'm surprised.
NBA, this is their day, right?
I'm surprised.
3:30 is the first start.
What do you think
for
of
NBA?
Troy Weaver, by the way?
I love him.
I do too.
I love that he's rolling the dice and clean. He's doing Yzerman.
I agree with you.
Coming in.
That's a great way to put it. He's a couple exits back.
Yeah.
But you know what? It's funny because we had a chance to talk to him. Like, I think it may have even been Joik in my first show.
Yeah, your opening day.
And the thing that jumps out to me, I'm not going to sit here and write checks and say that Troy Weaver is going to work. Okay, I'm not going to say that. I don't know. I like what he's doing. Lord knows I've been wrong before. I can tell you that the way the Pistons were operating wasn't working.
No.
It was. I always use the analogy for years: a hamster on a wheel.
Yep.
Sometimes that hamster's running; those little legs are going really fast,
and they're very fun to watch.
And they're fun to watch, but they aren't going anywhere.
Yeah,
and that's
then they
where,
get tired.
That's where the Pistons were, and have been, and continue to be, quite frankly. And he's saying blow her up.
Stan's drafts killed us. Stan's draft
Disaster.
were disastrous.
Absolutely disastrous.
No other way to put it about it. I mean, he put them way behind the 8 ball. Way behind.
So I want to get into some NFL. Get Maz's take. Get your take on what transpired over the weekend, and I think we'll go in chronological order as it happened over this weekend. And Art, you got some footage from that game on Saturday at Lambeau Field.
That was a clinic.
But you mentioned this earlier, and I want to piggyback on it. Sean McVay has done a tremendous job, an absolutely tremendous job, because
he's a real deal.
Let me tell you the reason why. A couple of years ago, remember he was the new genius.
Yep.
He was like Atlanta and Quinn. Remember, he was a genius.
Yep.
And then everything went downhill. Teams in this league have a tendency to figure out what you're doing. It's the ability to make changes and stay at that level that really speaks to me. And for McVay to do that, look at this move by Rodgers. By the way.
I know. God bless him.
I would have broken my femur.
Can I just say,
popped my hamstring.
I'm sorry. He's number one to me. You could have Brady. I'm taking Aaron
Today,
Rodgers.
absolutely. You know what? I had this conversation, and I felt like Joik was like my priest. I confessed to Joik at some point in time, the last two Green Bay Packer quarterbacks, I went from hating them to quietly, very quietly, Maz, I'm sorry, I like them.
I love them. I love them.
I feel so dirty.
I love them.
I feel so
even love
dirty.
Favre as a Jet.
I feel so dirty. This is like you.
I know.
But no,
I know.
Getting back to McVay. I mean, I think you saw it with Quinn in Atlanta. You saw it with Nagy in Chicago.
Yeah.
He's one of the new geniuses and everything.
His star is not shining as much anymore.
That offense is terrible.
Yeah.
But McVay, to be able to kind of change on the fly, and that quarterback situation that he has is awful.
It is.
I mean, it is.
Well, I don't know if it's awful.
It's bad. I'm bad.
Would you take Jared Goff right now here in Detroit?
Well, Jared Goff, who just had thumb surgery, is what I'm.
Okay.
They won a playoff game.
I know.
With a guy that just had thumb surgery and a backup.
I know.
Who got knocked out.
I know.
Respect, man.
Respect. Man,
especially
props.
against Seattle.
Props.
Oh.
And Seattle crapped the bed at the end of the year, and I thought they were playing possum. I love Seattle. I love Pete Carroll. I love that team. They obviously were missing something this year, but I kept saying, I think they're playing possum. But the Packers made them look, not the Packers, the Rams made them look like crap.
Yeah.
They crapped all over them. They were never in that game, Seattle.
No. Nope. It's crazy how that works out. Packers, it was a clinic. I mean, being at Lambeau is huge. I don't care what anybody says. I don't think you can say enough about warm weather teams going and having to play in Lambeau, even if it's only 33 degrees. And
that's like summer.
Yeah,
in
and
Lambeau.
it's going to be, look, that's going to be a factor this week. I know everybody thinks that, this is destiny with Tampa and Tom Brady and everything. I'm going to drop a not so fast. You going
last night
up
in
there,
the fourth
man?
quarter. Last night, I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yeah,
I just get so excited when
I'm
talking
glad
about this stuff. Last night in the fourth quarter, when I was bitter because I knew the Buccaneers were going to win, and I knew that the Saints weren't making a change at quarterback, I tweeted out, "The Packers will destroy the Buccaneers next week at Lambeau."
That was my impression too.
And I said the Bills will beat the Chiefs with or without Mahomes.
Ooh.
I truly believe that. Are you ready for this? I think the Bills win the whole damn thing. I think they snap the jinx 0-4. I think that's history. Sean McDermott has got that team playing awesome. Josh Allen is a stud. That defense, that
Allen.
field. But how much were they rooting for Cleveland to win that game so they could host at Ralph Wilson Stadium?
How cool would that be?
How great would that have been?
The Battle of Lake Erie.
Nonetheless, going back to the Packers, I think they're going to smack the crap out of the Buccaneers.
I do too. I really do. And it's funny, Art, I don't know if you remember this, when we did before the playoffs started, we did our Super Bowl predictions.
Yeah.
I took Buffalo.
Nice.
I did. I took
love
Buffalo.
'em.
I said it's always too easy to go with the favorites. It's just it's the
It ain't
easiest
gonna
thing.
happen. How hard is it to go back
So
to the Super Bowl?
I took Buffalo.
That's a win,
I
man.
took Buffalo.
Ma-
Hi, Art.
and Maz-
You don't have to raise your hand.
I know. He has
so
me trained.
Jump in, Art.
Joik has Art so trained that, like, literally, Art's over there raising his hand. I'm like, Joik's not here. You can
Stick
speak
and
up,
Joik
Art.
make me raise their hand.
All right.
You know, so I got to raise my hand. What do you see as the score when you say a spanking between Green Bay and the Bucs? What do you see as a score?
Well, first of all, the Buccaneers defense is playing out of their mind right now, and Dominican Sue's playing phenomenal. That secondary is phenomenal. Joe Buck and Troy Aikman were on this, and I forgot the kid's name in the secondary for Tampa Bay. He's a second-year guy.
Yeah.
They say he's a Pro Bowl snub.
Yep.
I forgot his name. They got some great players in Tampa on defense. Forget Tom Brady in the offense. That defense is good. The Packers are going to put up 30-something points on that defense.
Wow.
I promise you.
Wow.
That they will put up 30-something points.
You know what,
on that
Maz?
defense.
I can see something like 31-21.
Yeah, okay.
34.
When I say spank,
24.
I'll say
I get what you're saying.
I'll say 10 to 14 points they win by.
Doesn't surprise me.
That's a spank
I'll
in
go
a
10.
championship game.
I'll go 10. Yeah, I don't. I really
Right
like
now,
the Packers a
the
lot.
spread is 4. The over/under is 51. Packers are a 4-point home favorite. That's not much. That's almost a pick 'em. Because the home team, you get 3 points
3
right
points,
away.
yeah.
So it's like a 1 point. So Vegas looks like they like the Buccaneers here. I bet you that spread goes down a little bit.
Yeah. Now, you know what? I'm sorry. I've seen it too many times in my life. The warm weather team going into the cold weather place. It doesn't bode well. I mean, it doesn't.
But he is a cold weather quarterback.
Yeah. Oh,
Right.
sure. Oh, sure.
He is.
He is. No question about
And
it.
the son of a gun, I hate him. I really do hate him. I hate Brady. I do. I hate him. Always did. Even though he was with Michigan. I did like him at Michigan. Did see the Orange Bowl championship. That was his last time I ever
Didn't
rooted
everybody
for
like him at Michigan and want
Yeah.
him over Drew Henson?
Of course, yeah. Wink, wink. Exactly. But I'm sorry. I feel bad saying that. But the guy, he doesn't make many mistakes. He might not have the arm strength anymore. He still looks like a young man. The man sleeps in his own pajamas. He sleeps in a hyperbaric chamber. He's got the best looking. I mean, he's a robot to me. That's why I can't root for the guy. He's a freaking robot. How do you root? He's not a me. I'm a schlub. I like rooting for schlubs. He's not. I can't root for that guy.
Maz, I was one of those guys. That up until a few years ago, and I may have been this guy when we were working together. I would tell anybody, because I'm snobby. When somebody says, well, who's the best this or that, I always talk about guys that I've seen, right? And it was interesting because we were talking about that. I was part of a hockey roundtable last week with Matt Cook, former NHLer, and Mac. And the question came up, well, who's the best hockey player ever? And I can't talk about Gordie Howe.
Yeah.
I didn't see him.
Right.
The Gordie Howe that I saw was
We saw him with the Vipers.
in the NHL was with the Whalers. So
Save the
I mean,
whale.
he was my age, for
Yeah.
goodness sake. He was older than me.
Yeah.
But so I always talk about guys that I've seen.
So who is your guy? Who is your guy?
It was Joe Montana. It's Tom Brady. I can't argue it anymore.
Really?
It's Tom Brady. Yeah. There's
Okay.
too much for him to keep doing it.
I know.
And to do it in a different place, there's too much now. There's too damn much.
I got nothing. He's 14-2 in championship games, for Christ's sake.
It's
I got
insane.
nothing.
It's insane.
Do you see him retiring?
No.
If he wins the Super Bowl?
No.
Because
No.
that was a question that came up this morning on the Morning Wood Show, that really he's accomplished everything. Like, he brought, brand new team, and he joins in Super Bowl. Like, what else does he need to do? I know that he had talked about retiring at 45, but do you see him pulling it a little early and just saying, what else could I do to prove that I'm the GOAT?
He enjoys
I think
it
he
too much.
loves playing.
Yeah, he enjoys it too much.
I mean, he enjoys it. So if I'm Tom Brady, I don't have anything else to prove. If I can keep playing and I enjoy playing, I'd keep playing. Because I'm convinced Drew Brees would still be playing if he had an arm. I'm convinced Drew Brees looks like a guy that has fun while he's playing. I think it hit Drew. He can't throw. He can't. You know what I mean? So
it was so disappointing to see that towards the fourth quarter, and you just see the defeat in Breeze's eyes.
100%.
You could see when he threw that last pick, you could tell he looked back and just kept walking. I felt so bad for him. That's a terrible way to end the playoffs.
Tom said 37-24 Green Bay, then Buffalo 27-23. Kenny said if KC has Mahomes, they win. I can't see Tampa beating Green Bay, and I want to see the matchup just like everyone wanted to see Tiger versus Jack. I think, to me, the Mahomes factor's got to come into play. Am I terrified that Kansas City wins that game with Mahomes? 100%.
Do you really mind who wins that game? They're both fun teams to root for. They really are.
Yeah.
They are. But, you know, the underdog, and you want to see the Bills win. Let's face it, they're the Minnesota Vikings, 0-4, both of them in the Super Bowl. You want to see them go and win. Different team.
I've confessed this here, Tom. I pull for the Bills. Yeah. I have a rooting interest there. A coach on their offensive line coach is a guy that Joyke and I know very well from Wayne State.
Nice.
He also was here with the Lions for a bit, Coach Heffernan. And I love Josh Allen. And the reason why I love Josh Allen, and I don't know if you saw this story that was in ESPN last week, and I forget what writer it was. A writer actually wrote an apology and said, I was wrong about Josh Allen, and so was everybody else. And he included all these quotes of people from Troy Aikman to, you name media people, talking about how bad Josh Allen was. Josh Allen looks so uncoordinated, and all he does is make plays.
It's amazing.
Isn't it fun to watch?
It's like a kid growing into a man's body.
It is.
He's huge. He's only going to get better.
I love it. I love watching that guy play. I'm serious.
Can you imagine if they had a real true blue running back? True blue? They got it all, man.
Yeah.
They're going to win. I don't care if Mahomes plays or not. Put your money on the Bills. By the way, our buddy, Dave Rieger, he wrote us. Maz and Sean, I agree with you. He's got his money at FanDuel Sportsbook at Motor City Casino. He's got his Buffalo Bills to win the Super Bowl.
Can I? What would be the number, Maz? You and my buddy Mike, who's watching, know these numbers inside out. What would be the number if I did a parlay and took the Bills and the points and the Packers? What could I dip that to?
So you want the Bills and the Pack?
I want the Bills and the Pack. Yeah, but I'm going to parlay.
How much you putting on it?
Let's say 100 conies.
100
conies.
100 conies.
How many points could I bump that to, as a parlay?
I think you could win up to 1,500 on that,
baby.
If you play it right.
I want that.
If you play it right.
You know what? You give me a few more points.
Conies,
you give me a few more points on the
you don't need
the Bills side.
You don't need it. They're going to win.
Yeah, but you know
what?
Bet
the money line.
Those parlays where I can give myself the bump.
Yeah.
One of my buddies did that on Saturday. I was over his house and he was crapping his pants because he had Baltimore. He did a 3-team tease and he had Baltimore plus 15.5. And so it just hovered at 17 to 3. And I said, Bills aren't going to score anymore, dude. But you know how it is.
Of course.
It's easy for the non-better to say that.
Yeah, we're relaxed.
If you're watching the game, you're going, dude, they're going to score a touchdown. Here comes another pick six. They're going to kick a field goal.
There's nothing worse than watching an NBA game and you got the under and then the bench warmers come in.
Yeah, right.
And here they come. 3 point. I remember betting the Nuggets as a kid. I was a degenerate as a kid. The Nuggets would always score 140, 150 points.
Yeah.
It was awful. Alex English, all of these guys.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. What a degenerate. Thank God I don't do that anymore.
It was so
I'm
much
a father.
fun.
I can't do that stuff anymore.
What a great game, though, Saturday night. We're going to move ahead to that. And I know we've got some footage on that. Tom, that was an old school football game. We don't see many games like that anymore.
No.
You know, where really it was two offenses waiting for the other one to make a mistake. You knew points were going to be tough, hard to come by. It was like watching football when we were kids. We don't get many of those games anymore.
You mean with Pat Summerall on the mic?
He wouldn't know where he was.
Sean killed me for
James Allen.
He killed me for loving Pat Summerall, and Sean showed him no respect towards the end of his career, calling him Grimace because his hands were a little bit of a different color.
They were purple.
And
he didn't know where he was half the time.
Those were the
Kick
great.
is up. It's good.
It's good.
No, it isn't.
The last Super Bowl he called was Tom Brady's first championship.
Every
Cowboys.
every whistle's blown.
Hi, God bless you, Pat
Dexter
Summerall.
McCluster, he's gone.
McCluster.
No, he isn't.
That was the Cotton Bowl, his very last game that he called.
Cotton Bowl.
I'm just sweating now.
Oh,
listening to this.
On top. He's something. But no, really, that was an old school football game. It was fun to a mutual friend.
Who were you rooting for?
Well, I told you Buffalo. That's my rooting interest in the playoff and everything. I'm a Team B guy. I openly admit it. I
got A, B, C, D.
I have to root for somebody when the playoffs start, and that's I'm rooting for Buffalo, and that one's easy. This interception return was unbelievable, by the way. It really was.
And I thought it was more than 101 yards. I thought that was a 102, but what
it
the
looked
hell
like a 102 or a 103.
Yeah, he said he tied the record at 101. Man, that was ball game right there.
You nailed it. That was
ball game.
It was. I don't care that there were 41 seconds left in the third quarter.
Right.
Honest to goodness, I said that to my buddies. I was over at my buddy's house. We had a little, I did a pulled pork and everything, and I said to my boys, I go, it's time to go.
Yep.
Like, honestly, I mean, really, it was like, I don't need to stay here for this.
No doubt.
It's time to go.
I said that yesterday during the Buccaneers game. That second turnover, that third turnover, first the fumble, then the interception off the deflection. Boom, boom, nothing. Drew Brees not doing anything. It was over.
Yeah.
Even though the game was tied. I was right with my buddies. This game it's over.
Yeah.
It's over. You can't come back from that.
Tom said, long pause. Touchdown. Meanwhile, the extra point is being kicked. Absolutely.
How about murder? She wrote. I love Pat Summerall. Nobody better than him.
John, that guy goes to the same chiropractor that I do. Don't talk about that, old man. Knock it off.
Oh, God.
Anyway,
the Bills.
Some moxie. They showed some moxie on both sides of the ball. I think their defense is better than people give them credit for.
Heck yeah.
It's hard not to like the Bills. And the Bills Mafia stuff, of course, is part of it.
Those people, they're out of their freaking mind.
They are.
You know what the best job in Buffalo is? The best career?
Making tables?
Yeah, owning a table store. These sons, did you see the one they threw a baby? He threw a baby on a table and the kid's laughing when he lands on his back. Go, caca. How do you fight that? You can't fight that. Those fans are unbelievable.
Oh, it's so
crazy.
Good.
Mama.
Yeah, they get Bills heading to the first AFC championship since 1994. Old guys like us, it doesn't seem like that long ago. The Marv Levy Bills were so much fun, and you just knew when they were going to the Super Bowl. The only one that I thought they had a chance to win was the first one against the Giants.
Against the Giants. They had
the Norwood.
Bill Parcells decided, you know what we're going to do? We're just not going to let them have the ball.
Yes. Yep.
We're going to take the ball, and we're going to go 8-9 minutes of drive. That's what we're going to do. And then they're going to give them the ball, and we're going to pray that they go wide right. Even Al Michaels mentioned wide right because the guy went wide left, one of his field goals.
Yep.
It just turned out that's always going to be with them. It was a great win, Super Bowl 25 for the Giants. Phenomenal. But that was their best chance.
No, absolutely.
You weren't beating the freaking Cowboys.
You weren't
beating the 49ers.
You knew, and that Washington team, team was loaded.
Oh, God. Yeah.
That was the team that beat the Lions, as you well know.
Of course.
Lions, Bills in the Super Bowl. I mean, it's still, I couldn't even.
It would have been the Battle of Grosse Pointe.
They got,
Two
absolutely.
neighbors.
Yeah.
Grosse Pointe has Mr. Ford on one corner, and they have Ralph Wilson on the other corner.
Yeah, he was the owner of the
block.
Bills.
One block of Grosse Pointe has two NFL owners.
It's insane. No, and I'll tell you what, guys, it was. I'll read it. They weren't beating those Cowboy teams, and it's funny. They had in the last one they had the lead at half, and then the Cowboys just came out and smoked them in the second half. But they were fun teams, and I don't care what anybody says. I know that they're always going to have that loser tag on top of them. They made it to 4 straight Super Bowls, man. That's saying something. But
I look back. You know what I looked at? I wanted to see the last time if the Chiefs and Bills ever played in a championship game. And they did. The last AFL championship game, the Bills lost to the Chiefs, who went and lost to the Packers in Super Bowl I. And if you go further, the third year of the Bills' 4 straight Super Bowls, they trounced the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game.
Yeah,
so they've met twice.
They beat Montana, right?
They beat Montana.
Yeah, they beat Montana.
They beat Montana.
I remember that because it was Tom Brady-esque. It
Yep.
was, oh my gosh. Except the difference was, as you well know, everybody thought Montana was done.
Yeah.
Everybody thought
He really.
It was
He did well.
That's what made me put my.
Yeah.
It was like, okay, I can't deny this anymore. Joe Montana's the best I saw.
All right, but
until
you're
Tom
still taking Brady.
I'm still taking Brady.
I'm taking Rodgers, man.
Are you really?
Yeah.
All time.
All time.
I'm not going to argue with that.
All time. I know they don't have the Super Bowl
I'm not going
credentials.
to argue with that.
Oh my God.
He's unbelievable.
He's the
unbelievable. He's I've said
He plays on one leg, man.
I've
He's
said
really
for
playing
a
on
few
one
years
leg.
now what you said earlier. I'm a firm believer that he's the best quarterback in the NFL today. I'm a firm believer.
Not
in
even
that.
close.
Yeah, I have no problem saying that. Let me get a couple comments. Tom said, "Can we finally say Lamar is good but needs to change his play? It's not working in the playoffs."
I disagree.
I've always liked Lamar Jackson because when he got into the National Football League and people said that he should change his position, I laughed.
Yeah.
So the first person that I called was Scott Bischoff, and I said, "Scott, what am I missing? Like, did people not watch him? Did people not?" I think that he's a good quarterback. Is he a great quarterback? I don't know if you. I think he's a good quarterback who had a great season last year. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And sometimes, a good quarterback can also have a bad season. I think he's a good quarterback that had a great season. But do I call Lamar Jackson great? No, I don't.
He's not great.
I think he's a National Football League quarterback.
But can I tell you this? Who's he throwing to?
Yeah.
What receivers? Marquise Brown?
Yeah.
5 foot nothing? They need a wide receiver if they want this kid to take the next step. They got running backs. You got Dobbins. They're going to be fine there. They need a receiver.
Yeah.
Other than that, I think you're solid. Baltimore will be back next year again. John Harbaugh.
All right, listen, we'll talk about Sunday's action. Look ahead to next weekend as well. So cool of Maz to be sitting in today. But before we hit our break time, you've heard the name just about everywhere. MyBookie, they are the industry's leading online sportsbook and casino. And it's not hard to understand why. With thousands of lines to bet on all your favorite sports, you know about the NFL, the NBA, college ball. How about the MMA? How about soccer? They've got all the latest odds, period. Now, here's where you come in. Just visit their mobile-friendly website today and get your deposit matched halfway up to $1,000. Just use the promo code Woodward when you make your first deposit. Best part is they make it simple with a variety of ways to deposit instantly, including credit card, bank transfer, Bitcoin, and more. Bet, win, get paid. It's MyBookie. Don't forget, use the promo code Woodward to get 50% off of your first deposit matched. It's MyBookie.
I'm looking to bring on another HVAC tech right now.
We are recruiting 5 to 10 techs a month.
We're looking to grow and expand.
Every new tech we hire is from Northwestern Tech.
The hands-on training is fantastic.
They're always my first call.
We love hiring Northwestern Tech grads.
They come out trained and ready to work.
Our program is only 10.5 months, and our next classes are starting soon. So why wait?
I'm looking to hire
Hire a graduate of
Of Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
What is up? Glad you could join us. Maz giving us a little sports update. Old habits die hard. No score yet?
No score. 13:29 to go in the first. Martin Luther King Day matinee.
That is such a beautiful rink. I love that rink. I really do.
I'm sorry. I like the Joe. You know I do. I like the dump.
You know my feelings. Thank you. I'm glad that you admit it. Yes,
No,
thank you.
it's my dump.
Yeah, that's the way I always felt about the Silverdome. I mean, it's.
I love the Silverdome.
When the Lions win one day, I swear, my buddies and I don't care if we're 88.
Party
we're going to
there.
sneak out of our home. We're going to drive. We're going to drive down Updike.
Are you going to be able to leave the old folks home?
Yeah, well, we're gonna sneak out of the old
Okay,
folks' home with
okay.
our walkers, and we're gonna find a drive down to Updike, and we are gonna sit out in that gravel parking lot and have a beer because it was our dump. The place was, I mean, the Pontiac Silverdome was an absolute dump. It was, but it was our dump, and that was the way. Look, Joe Louis, there are so many memories in there, but I say this all the time, Maz. You will not find a player, if they're being honest, that says, "Nah, I wish we could have kept it open." life moved on. These guys, professional athletes, go into other barns and they see all the amenities and how nice they are. It was time to go.
I know, especially the visitors' locker room. I mean, that place was really something. The visitors' locker room was the size of like a closet.
Oh,
folks.
It's incredible.
It was unbelievable, but it was a great home ice advantage. And the Silverdome, to me, and tell me if I'm wrong here, Shawnee, was that not the best home field advantage?
It was so
that
loud.
They probably didn't take advantage of enough.
It was so loud. It was. We were talking about it on the anniversary of the game in January of '92. Yep. Were you there? I don't know if we,
No, I was not there.
Okay.
Not that playoff game.
I was there as a fan.
I didn't move here yet.
Yeah, I wasn't in the business. I was there as a fan. I will never forget Jenkins' pick six and how loud it was. Like it literally hurt my eardrums. I'll never forget that.
I've watched the game a million times on video, on film.
I think we're looking at the two teams of the '90s.
Yeah, I agree, Pat. I agree.
It was, it was phenomenal. It was a great atmosphere, and
you know what my first playoff game was? My first indoctrination into Lions football was Sterling Sharp. Sterling Sharp.
I was miserable.
My brother-in-law and I had cheap seats, but we wound up sitting before the kickoff on the 50-yard line on these seats in the lower tier, and no one moved us. Yeah. We sat on the 50-yard line the whole day that day. Because at the Silverdome, I was a season ticket holder for a couple of years, but I got rid of that quickly. You know what I did is I'd go every Monday before the game and buy the bleacher tickets.
Oh, it was great.
For $10 were. Then they went up to 15.
Yep.
You're on the field.
It was great.
The best seats in the house.
Loved it.
Not only that, I have the seats that I sat in. I went, and I was lucky because Rich Adamo is a friend of mine. And he was the one that knocked the Silverdome down. Well, tried to the first time. And anyway, I got to go in. Matter of fact, Mark Fellhauer was with me. Mm-hmm. I picked out my bench seat from the Silverdome, and I have it at home on a post now. So I still have my.
Oh, that's great.
I still have my seats.
That's really cool.
I actually picked my seats.
By the way, an old friend, Adam Zellick, said hi.
Oh, the Z-Pack.
Hi, Adam. How are you?
What up, Adam?
Tom said, quietest I ever heard the Dome was the Sterling Sharp game in the playoffs. I did not go to that game.
Oh, my God.
I had to work that day.
Oh, God.
That's when I was first getting into real life and everything. So I had to make the choice. Do I leave this job to go be a fan? And I stayed. And I'm glad I wasn't there. I'd have lost my mind.
I want to ask you this.
Still can't believe the guy got that open.
Sidebar on that kind of thing. What game can you remember, like great game that you could have been at, but you didn't go because of a situation? You had to work or you had to do something else. Can you remember a game that you could have went to and you pissed? I mean, I got a few stories I could bore you with.
No, I can tell you the opposite, and you probably heard this. Verlander's first no-hitter at home against the Brewers.
Yeah, that was a bowling night. I was bowling that night.
We had a 27-game package at the time, and we had tickets for 14 years, and it was just the random afternoon, and it was a nice early June night, and I said to my son at about 6:15, I said, "Do you want to go to the game tonight?" And, of course, him being 8 at the time or whatever he was like, "Are you serious?" I said, "Let's go to the game. We're just sitting here and everything." So we went to the game that night. And that wasn't part of our season ticket package.
And it was not crowded.
No, it was. There was nobody there.
It was a Tuesday night.
Yeah, and it was. So just at the last second, we went down.
Sweet.
We went down to the park.
Where'd you sit?
Up in the mezzanine. Back then, that was like his favorite seat.
Yeah.
It was
behind home plate.
No, right field.
Okay.
Right field. So because it only goes from about first base to about the foul pole
Now
line.
Did you start moving in as the innings went in?
No, you know what? It was a warm night.
Or you didn't want to jinx them.
It was a warm night, so we stayed kind of up top where you're on top of the field where it's kind of the sun isn't on you and everything.
Oh, yeah.
So we just kind of stayed there, and then we moved closer.
Yeah.
Once it got to the 8th inning, it was it was so that was, but no, off the top of my head, I don't think there's a game that I could have gone to that I didn't go to. More often than not, anybody that knows me, I end up going to the game. I quit a job once to go to a game. I wasn't going to quit this.
What were you doing? What kind of job?
I was working in a
Primo
bar.
Pizza?
No,
What
I
were
was
you doing?
working in a bar, and I called my boss and I said it was the the Wings-Leafs Game 7 93 playoffs. My buddy called me like an hour before the game. Goes, dude, I got tickets. You want to go? Yeah, hell yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And so I called my boss, and he owed me a couple favors. Yeah. And I go, listen, I'm going to go. And he goes, dude, you can't. Like, I'm shorthanded. I go, don't put me in this position, man. Don't, you know. And I go, come on. I covered a couple shifts. And he was like, I don't know what to tell you. You need to come in. And I go, okay, I don't know what I need to tell you, but I'm not coming in. And thanks for letting me work for you. Wow. Like that. I mean, I went to
and did you not go back anymore?
No,
he didn't have you back?
No. Didn't go back.
That son of a bitch.
Didn't go. No, that's on me.
I know.
If my kid did something like that, now I'd lose my mind, right?
Of course.
You know how that works.
You don't want to tell him that. Hey, I missed the Maglio home run, the clincher. My ticket I gave to my wife that day because I had Michigan football to do that day, and I forgot who the Wolverines were playing. I think it was Penn State. So I had to do the Michigan broadcast. So my wife got to go, and we had great seats with Uncle Joe, and we had some wonderful seats. She got to see the Maglio game, and then my pièce de resistance back in 1986. I had Game 7 tickets for the Mets Red Sox.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah, it was a Sunday night.
Yeah.
It got rained out. Let's postpone it to Monday.
Yeah, same time as Monday Night Football.
I had tickets to the Monday night game. Yeah, of course you're going to go to the World Series. No, I had a date with this girl that I worked on, and we're going to the football game. Because the baseball game, it was with me and my buddies. I gave the ticket up. I sold my Game 7 ticket to go to Giant Stadium with this girl from Bayonne, New Jersey. I'll never forget it, man. But there's my... I know, but I picked abroad over the World Series.
Lesson learned. Lesson learned.
I kind of knew what I was doing. I kind of figured.
Lesson learned. I won't make that mistake again.
I had a great day with Catherine that day.
Yeah,
a great day, and I wound up in Bayonne, taking her home and having a great night. So. I guess that's my story. That's my story. Yes, I missed the Game 7 of the World Series, but I had it all planned, Sean.
Have you been to their new park? It's beautiful.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
I took Jack there a couple of years ago. It was you know it was. I think he said that was his second favorite park he's been to. Pittsburgh's number one.
Oh,
Pittsburgh's number one.
That is nice.
Yeah,
it's not. They don't have the frills, but it's good looking, and the view is amazing.
Yeah, the view. You know, the thing that I loved about New York is it's kind of it has that minor league feel in a way too.
It does.
It's got all the modern amenities, and it's got that modern. I know somebody. He got us like passes into, I forget what the loge is called, like the Mets room or whatever, the BMW Mets room.
Yeah.
So like we went in there for a couple innings, and we were like, screw that, let's go in the corner where they have like the minor league area set up and everything. It was great.
They made it. They designed Citi Field to look like Ebbets Field.
Yeah.
And I'm going to give you this fact. I'm going to give you a Fish's fact. You know how Fish does his facts?
Yes.
Here's a fact. Well, I'm going to ask you guys. See if you guys know. I'm going to ask Art, and I'm going to ask you, Sean.
All right.
How did the New York Mets get their colors?
I don't know.
You got any guesses? Think New York.
Blue and orange.
You too,
The
Art.
colors, blue and orange.
I'll give you a hint. What teams left New York? What baseball teams left New York?
Oh, is that how it's from? No kid.
The
Really?
Dodger blue.
Yeah.
And the Giant orange.
That's really cool.
That's the New York
really
Mets.
cool.
That's the New York Mets logo.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as you said that, I was like,
that's a Fish's fact.
Yeah, that's
on the
that's
Baligian
pretty
and Bell
cool.
show.
Lynn asked, "Did you marry her?" No,
I did not marry her.
I knew the answer to that.
I did. I married a different Kathy, though.
Yes.
I married a different. But you know what? This was the girl that I really wanted to go out with, and she was paying attention to me, and I picked the girl. Sorry,
Red
Mets.
Wings. Bobby Ryan scores. The Wings take a 1-0 lead.
And who walks in the door at the same time?
Yeah, is a coincidence? I think not.
Darren McCarty in
and
the
look
house.
at the former wing has bags of wings sitting over there.
From?
Don't taunt us. Yeah, is that Detroit
That's
Wing
Gus's.
Company?
That's just that's
What up? Detroit Wing Company in the house.
That's Gus.
Yeah.
We need to take a long commercial break.
Oh my God!
Can we take a long commercial
Bring
break?
those in here, boys.
Steve said PNC is my favorite of the new stadiums, but they haven't put a decent team in there in years.
No.
You know what I loved? I loved Dodger Stadium. I loved it. Absolutely.
I got a fact on Dodger Stadium.
We're getting two of them.
All right.
Woo, this is bonus Maz facts.
The color scheme of Dodger Stadium, the seats, they change from beige, they get a little darker, and blue on the bottom. That is to mimic the ocean, to mimic the beach.
Really?
Dodger Stadium is made in the shades of a beach.
No kidding.
Yes.
It has that old Tiger Stadium charm to it.
I've never been.
It really does.
I went when there was no game. I went during the Wolverines Rose Bowl. I was with the WJR crew. We were there all week. We got to go to Dodger Stadium and check it out. I'd love to see a game there.
It was, you know what's really cool is like think of like around here, 696, 96, whatever the case may be. It's like right off the freeway, and then it's just a little bit off the freeway, and then you weave through, like, it's like woods.
Yeah.
You weave through woods, and then all of a sudden
Ravine.
there's this giant parking lot. I mean, it's a sea of humanity and cement and everything. I really enjoyed. I like the old charm.
I love old stadiums,
of
man.
Dodger Stadium. I really
love
did.
old, and I know you've talked about it, and I've heard you in the past. It was time for Tiger Stadium to be let go, but to me,
that place was death. You know it. Walking,
I know.
Walking
the elevator
to their press box. You were taking your life.
The thing was leaning forward. The press box was leaning forward.
Do you remember when I said that? Listen.
Yeah, you had to balance yourself, Art. Back here, if you wanted to stand, it was tipping forward.
You were taking your life. There was Art. I'm not joking. Mez, how far would you? It was probably a 15-foot walk.
Yeah.
Where you felt like you were walking the plank. Like any second it's gonna give, and I'm gonna plunge to my death. It blew my mind. I mean, I was crapping my pants the first time I was there.
The best was going to the press box, and then going to the Lions side of the press box, where the Lions used to have the reporters there. It's empty. There was 100 foul balls up there. No one would go up there. It was like the death, and that's where Dan Dickerson. Listen to this. Dan Dickerson, the voice of the Tigers. Before he was the voice of the Tigers, me and him and Steve Courtney would go there, mind our own business, leave the press box, go into the Detroit Lion press box area, and he would start calling the game. He'd practice calling the game. And then Ernie Harwell brings him in. They do a couple of innings together. He weans him on. Dan Dickerson, the voice of the Tigers. Has there been a better guy to take over for Ernie Harwell?
He is so smooth. He's just a class guy.
Class,
and,
the best.
I don't even know him that well personally. He's just every time
like
you
a
deal
brother
with
to
him,
me.
he's just a
phenomenal.
He's just a wonderful
I know that we're
guy.
kind of very much off track from what we're to play, but
We're
I have
on NFL playoffs.
Yeah, but I
after
have
this.
to ask. I have to ask both of you a question. When you think about the greatest sports moments that you've been able to cover, obviously, Maz, you've been in the Wings locker room during
97.
in 97. I want to ask both of you, what is that moment for you? That one pinnacle moment that you'll never forget in your career? And I mean, it could still happen. There's still sports happening, but as of right now to this day, what moments stick out the most for you?
Johnny.
You know what? I'm sorry. I'm going to sound like an old man. When I'm working when I'm working, it's not the same. It's just it's not the same.
Yeah.
It's just like if I'm working an event, it's
you have to put the joy of it behind because you have work
weird.
ahead of you.
It's not the same. I mean, the Wings in 08 was pretty cool. You know, and I was doing like a post-game show for Fox 2 at the time and everything. That was really cool. It was a fun night, and then it turned into a fun morning, if you know what I mean. Because it was like when I got done, it was like I got a call where the party was at, and I ended up where the party was at. But, like, honestly, I hate to be that guy. When I'm working, it's different. Does that make sense?
I know.
When I'm working, it's different.
But when did you get the chills? That's what he's talking about. Did you go into an event and get the chills? I cried at my first Super Bowl, Super Bowl 33.
Yeah.
I got to cover the Falcons and Broncos. It was John Elway's last game. I didn't give a damn about the teams.
I
was at a Super Bowl. I was at a Super Bowl. And I cried the national anthem. And I forgot even who did the national anthem. But I got the chills like you would not believe it. And to me, I was at a Super Bowl.
Oh, okay, can I now you hear that? I'll give you the direct opposite of that. I'll never go to a Super Bowl again if my life depends on it.
Did you go to? So
I went to two. I went down to Jacksonville and I came here. There's too much going on, and unfortunately, there are too many people that are there because it's the Super Bowl. Like, I mean, it's almost like
Has
there's
nothing to do with the importance of the game.
And
it's because
Come on, man.
Even the media guys, there are media guys there, and there's like this level of snobbery and everything. And it's like, I just want to watch the game. Can I watch the
But
game?
that's what I did. I watched the game.
I'll never.
I locked in, man. I'm a football guy.
I'll never go to a Super Bowl
you're
again,
missing out,
ever.
man. You're
I
missing
get what
out.
you're saying about the whole work thing because, when I used to interview artists, you'd get excited to go to the concert, but it's all work. Like, you're there to interview, and then you really want to go home, to be honest. Like, you don't want to stay for the whole show. And people don't understand, and it's like, but you have the dream job, and it's like, you don't understand the prep and work that goes into it. So I see where you're coming from.
No, my buddies, you know what? You're bringing back memories because now my buddies get it. But like years ago, I don't want to cover any big event ever again.
Yeah.
Because you know what? Like nothing. I'm a
Man's like, I'll go to every Super Bowl.
I'm a fan. I want to sit at home like a fan. Because when I go as a member of the media, I can't fan out. I have a job to do.
That's true.
I want to sit at home and I want to eat wings and I want to spill spicy garlic all over my shirt.
Can I just say how dangerous this is right now? That we all haven't crashed through this window as they're eating wings in front of us from Detroit Wing Company. How dare you?
They better save us some.
Yeah, but I mean, like, honestly, I hope I never.
You don't like it anymore? You don't like going to an NFL Sunday game?
No, that's different. I'm talking a big game, an event. I want to be at home. Absolutely, I want to be at home. I want the game. Yeah, doing your job for a Lions game or whatever. Yeah, that's fine. But like the big event, traveling to a big event.
You don't want to see the Tigers win the World Series? Personally?
As a member of the media?
Yeah.
No. I would spend, there's nothing that I wouldn't spend. I would be that guy that you would read about. Yeah. I would spend money for my son and I to be there to watch the Tigers or the Lions win.
I'll go with you.
That's
fine.
Remember, I mean, unless my boss said at whatever job I'm working at, you have to go. Well, then if I have to go, it's not going to be like working at the bar when I was 21 and saying, "Screw you, I'm not going." If I have to go, I have to go. But I'd rather. Wouldn't you like to, like the three of us sitting in my front room with just a smorgasbord of food, losing our mind, pouring beers all over each other because the Lions finally won the Super Bowl?
I think what it comes down to...
That's the last place I'd want to be if the Lions won the Super Bowl.
What it comes down to is you don't want to be told where to go next or what to do next. You want to watch a game in the comfort of your home, and I get that. But it's very difficult for people on the outside to see that. Like, there's people in the comments that are probably like, "Are you crazy? You wouldn't go cover another Super Bowl?" Like,
Hey,
zero interest.
If the Lions are going to a Super Bowl, man, I'm gonna be there. All right, I don't
Go
give
ahead.
a damn.
You wouldn't go with the wait. Hang on.
As a fan. As a fan.
But if you had to go to work, you would rather stay home and watch it.
If you're giving me my druthers, yes.
Wow.
1,000%. Because,
tape the game.
You know
tape
what?
It.
I want to be. In that case, I want to be near my children because that might be the seventh sign of the Lord's return. That might be
Good
it.
point.
And if the heavens open and he's playing his trumpet coming back down, man, I'm gonna be at home. I'm gonna be at home, man.
All right,
come on, kids, let's go.
You got me on that.
Tom said he wants to cuss out the TV after a dumb play. 1,000%. You can't get away with stuff like that.
Yeah, you can't do that.
You can't do that. Mike, you know me too well. At home with Mr. Brisket is the place to be. I'll have Mr. Brisket, his friend pulled pork, the Rib family, they can all come. I'll bring St. Louis. I'll bring, seriously, right?
Yeah.
Baby Back can join as well. We'll finish up the championship talk. We'll talk about the games yesterday, talk about what we see forthcoming as well. So glad you can join us. It's Woodward Sports. He's Tom Mazaway sitting in for Joik. Joik will be back in tomorrow. You're going to be stuck with me tomorrow as well, right here on Woodward Sports.
Spinning him down and putting the ball in the one. Second and goal, and Joik Bell goes in for the touchdown.
All right, welcome back in. Glad you can join us. It's Woodward Sports. Appreciate Tom Mazaway coming in here. He's going to be a part of things that we do at Woodward Sports and a afternoon show that will be named later. I can't give you any more details than that. Sorry.
We're going to have fun no matter what.
Yeah, it's going to be, well, you see how fun he is. It's going to be a fun show. Jenna just asked a question, Art, of you.
Oh, wow.
And I've seen this question.
Art's got a fan?
Art's got many
One,
fans.
just one.
No,
And it's
he's
Jenna,
got many
thank you.
fans. I've seen this question uttered many different ways, but I've kind of been waiting to ask it until this point with the show almost over. But Art, do you miss Joik today?
No, absolutely not. Next topic. Especially since he snitched on me twice. No, not at all.
Hey.
I'm so glad that Sean and Tom are here today. They are my
Art.
heroes. This has been the best show that's been done ever.
Thanks,
Mazway
man.
and Baligian in the morning has a great ring to it. Just saying.
Shawnee can do it, man.
All right, old stuff in Seinfeld with Maz.
Oh, yeah.
Well, he know. I'm not bringing this up, Maz. Plug your ears. I think you know this.
I know.
I think I am the one human. I just don't like that show.
There's a few of you.
There are a couple of us.
There's a few.
Mike, I think Mike, are you watching? My buddy Mike and I,
Yeah.
we have a group of friends, and all they would do is talk about it back in the day, and it was like, I don't get it.
It's okay.
I never
Oh,
got it. I'm not going to start.
It's okay.
He loves it.
You're
So
young.
I'm gonna
I'll
respect
forgive
it.
you. There's no
I mean,
forgiving
it's
for
not
you.
like The Office, the greatest
Oh,
TV show ever
please. Are
created.
you nuts?
I love
You
The
know.
Office.
The Office is better than Seinfeld.
It is. Okay.
I knew that was going to trigger him.
I'm not going to argue with you. Everyone's got their thing. Everyone's
Parks
got
and
their
Rec, Sopranos.
thing.
All right, wait, enough. We're not going to go there.
Breaking Bad?
Yeah. What did you think about yesterday? Anything surprise you from yesterday? I mean, to me, I knew the Browns were going to give Kansas City hell. I did. I think the way the Chiefs won with Chad Henne is
God.
and you know what?
How did they close that
I
game
tweeted
out?
this out yesterday, Maz. I had to go back and read
I saw this tweet.
He is. Chad
As a
Henne
freshman.
was unbelievable
They
at
won the
Michigan.
Big Ten.
He really was. Their last Big Ten title, I might add. Isn't that crazy?
That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Listen, props. I think, number one, the run that he had and then the call that Andy Reid made. I mean, it's just
It's 4th down and a yard.
beautiful.
Tony Romo is saying, look at their body language. They're not going to snap the ball. This is they're just going to take the timeout here at the end. Well, they snap the ball. And they throw the ball to Tariq. And he sits down on the field to end the game. If they don't make that play, they could lose that game.
1,000%.
But no timeouts for Cleveland. But which I would have punted.
You know what?
I would've punted.
You're that close, though, man. I wouldn't have been surprised at all if the Browns. I'm with you. I would have punted too.
Because they have no
punted.
timeouts.
Yeah.
You got to go to whole field. I would have punted.
I think that's why Andy Reid's where he's at and why we're where we are at.
How about Andy Reid? I think this is true. The only head coach to go to 3 straight AFC championship games, 3 straight NFC championship
Props
games.
to him. Props to him.
What?
Can I say how scary this
Look at the poor guy.
This video
you
is?
started to raise your
I
hand
know.
again. You don't have to raise your hand.
You're safe here, Art. You don't
Safe
have to
harbor.
be
This is your
Safe
safe spot.
Tomorrow is going to be hell on earth with Joik. I know it is, so I'm just eating this up. Mahomes, talk about that footage, though, that we're
He got
playing
KO'd.
behind.
It was frightening.
I mean, is he going to be
Look at
ready?
him.
It was frightening.
That is terrifying.
That was.
What happened? I mean, I didn't see him.
Do you know what? What's his name? The MMA guy. Why do I always forget his name
I
on
don't
Fox
know.
2?
Joe Rogan?
No. He used to do MMA broadcasts. Big, thick guy.
Bass
Jake
Rutten?
Laser. Is that his
Oh, yeah,
name?
Jake Glazer.
Yeah, Jake
Jake
Glazer.
Glazer.
Yeah.
He said I'm not saying this is what happened, but it reminded him of a chokeout.
Okay.
Because what happened is the
I saw
arm,
that.
the
Yeah.
arm
Okay.
came around, and he goes, "What happens is," and he said, "I'm familiar with this with the
It's a sleeper
MMA guy."
hold.
Yeah, he goes, it basically cuts off, and
Yeah.
he goes, I'm not trying to play doctor, I'm not a doctor. He said, but maybe that was it.
Yeah, because there was no hit, really.
No.
There wasn't like a big, impact.
And he was jogging a couple minutes later, if you remember.
Into
Here's
the
the problem.
locker
Here's
room.
the problem with concussions, and Joik and I were just talking about this last week. The thing that people don't understand is concussion isn't like it's a brand new injury. Concussion is it's a brand new injury, and it set off the injury that you already have on your brain.
Yeah.
That's what, like, people don't understand that. It's like if I get my bell rung,
Yeah.
well, not only does it ring this bell, but it rings that bell and that bell and that bell and that bell.
Bells that
So
have
I mean
been-
that's
He's
a
gonna have a
frightening
tough
thing.
week.
Oh, he's going to have an incredibly tough
gonna have a
week.
tough week.
Absolutely.
I'm a migraine sufferer, and I get them in clusters.
How much
You
does
get 'em.
that? How much does that impact the game coming up? In your opinion?
Huge. I mean, you're talking about arguably, along with Aaron Rodgers, the best quarterback in the game.
Yep.
And I don't care what Chad Henne proved to people yesterday he belongs in the National Football League. I don't care what anybody says. There's a reason why Chad Henne's a backup.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's a reason why he's a backup. Does he give them a better chance than maybe some teams? Well, sure. You know, I would give Chad Henne a better chance of winning a game with Kansas City than, for example, Chase Daniel winning a game with the Lions or something like that. But it's incredible. Especially I feel like you're like Maz and I. You already think that Buffalo has a darn good chance to win that game.
Yeah.
Now you take Patrick Mahomes out of that.
But bro, even if he starts, he's one hit away from coming out of that game.
For sure. For sure. Yeah, that's exactly
I
it.
will give the Ravens. They bring this kid up off the practice squad. He looked pretty damn good.
Yeah.
I couldn't think of his name for the life of me. And RG3 was out.
Yeah.
They bring this kid up from the practice squad, and he looked like a pretty damn good quarterback.
Like in Washington a couple weeks ago. I mean, it was incredible to see.
Trey Henneke, yeah.
Jenna said, Art, I fully support you and a fan, but I love the bromance you enjoy, Cav. There's a little bromance going on there.
No,
Let's be honest.
there used to be, but sometimes it's like when you get hurt so many times. After a while, you're
he
like, you know what?
spurned you. Yeah.
Baligian is really holding up this whole show.
Yeah.
Like he really is the bread and butter behind this thing. And you got Joik, who it's just unacceptable. Now tomorrow when he comes in, I will not be saying any of this, and I will not be making eye contact. I will not be making eye contact.
You better hope nobody takes a cut of this show and shows it to him.
I know they will, and that's okay. I'll live with the consequences of my
I want
actions.
every one of you to narc on Art tomorrow. Can you do that?
what are
Every
you
single one of
doing?
you. Because I love to sit back. I have nothing to do with it, so I get to
a
watch.
mad
I just want him to
scientist.
say he's sorry and that we're friends, and then this can be done. I mean, the show isn't about me; it's about sports. You know, I mean, I beat him at COD. Let's get over it.
By the way, Chiefs 3-point favorites over the Bills. 3 points.
Even with the Mahomes situation.
Yep, even with the Mahomes situation.
Tom said BSS, battered screener syndrome. Hi, I'm Sean Baligian, and I'm here to talk about something very serious today. BSS is something that afflicts many people, like Art. And you just see Art in the corner raising his hand. We could make like a whole PSA out of it. So that went to 3, huh?
That's 3. I think that spread will stay there, maybe go even a little lower by the end of the week.
I want to move both of those. I want to do a parlay. I want to buy some points on both
All right,
sides.
we'll figure it out. Maybe my bookie can help you through that.
I'm going to figure that out.
Yeah.
No doubt about it.
No question.
So last night,
The Brady Bowl.
the National Football League is so weird. I'm sure you've probably heard this. Okay, here are the New Orleans Saints who beat them 38-3 and 34-23. So I want you to do the math with me very quickly. They outscored the Bucs 72-26 this year, and they got throttled yesterday. Tom,
Well, they got nipped.
Watching the NFC East for so many years, because you mentioned Summerall and Madden. It always seemed like around here.
They had the Cowboys, Redskins, Giants, Eagles.
Always. And the NFC East was one of those divisions where more often than not, teams might play each other 3 times. It is so hard to beat a team 3 times
Giants
in a year.
did it to the Skins. I remember in '86 that happened, and it's happened plenty of times in the past. But the killer to me was the turnovers, and I thought Sean Payton, he wanted to give Drew Brees. He knows it's his last game. He's not going to pull the guy. He probably should have, or at least brought in Jameis like he did Taysom Hill a few times. Do something different. Because they were stagnant in the second half. The offense was stagnant. They weren't running the ball anymore. Alvin Kamara was running all over him in the first half. Tampa Bay shut that down in the second half and said, Breeze, you got to beat us. And he can't beat anyone anymore.
No, you take half the field away.
You just can't beat
I
anyone.
mean, really, that's what it is. You're taking
Safeties
half
are
the
playing
field
up like
away.
linebackers.
It's incredible. And again, Joik, if you're watching, we'll talk about it tomorrow. I mean, no disrespect to your boy.
No.
You know, Joik
None.
loves him. He's done. His arm's done. It's over. It would be in his best interest to retire. I mean, there's just no other way to say that. It was funny, Maz, because I made the crack last night when Jameis threw that touchdown, I don't think it was the trickery that got it done. I think it was the shock that the New Orleans Saints could actually throw down the field that got it done.
They haven't done it all year.
Why would we put somebody back there? They can't throw down there.
Now, Taysom Hill, he was injured in this game. Am I correct?
They really missed his 2-yard runs.
No, I'm telling you, man. If he wasn't injured, it could have been a different game. It could have been a different game.
He's the master of the 2-yard run.
He is the master. There's no question. But can I ask you an old man question again?
I love old man questions.
You're not going to know this because you really don't know anything when it comes to this. Are you missing the 1 and 4 o'clock starts?
Yes.
This is bullshit. I'm not waiting till 3 o'clock.
Maz, I couldn't agree more.
I'm not going to watch a game at 7 o'clock. That's when stupid 60 Minutes is supposed to start.
You know what you can, Maz? You can save that for this weekend. AFC, NFC Championship.
That's it.
I accept that. But yesterday, it was absolute garbage.
Disgusting.
It was garbage.
I don't want to watch a 3 and a 7 o'clock game. I can't. I'm designed to wake up, scratch my balls, eat a little bagel or have a bowl of cereal, waste time away from the family, enough time that 1 o'clock comes that they know they're not going to bother me. And I'm going to sit down and I'm going to lock in until 7:30. And then I'm going to find prime time and watch Chris Berman do it again. That's me. I can't wait till 3 o'clock. You know what I got sucked into? I got to clean the house.
Oh, see, that's the trick.
It was
they know you're not doing anything. Guess what? It's time for the honeydew list. It is. Oh, what time does your game come on? I thought it was on at 1. Oh, goody gumdrop. Can you get the ladder for me?
Yeah.
Come on.
No, NFL. No.
I'm with you. That's why, I brought this up earlier. I teased I was going to talk about this. Tom, I love NFC, AFC Championship Day because that whole day it's just about the football. There aren't the bells and whistles. There aren't the which commercial. Oh, did you happen to see the commercial?
The kitten bowl?
It's all about football. That is the last day of the year for football fans because Super Bowl Sunday has turned into anything but. I mean, it really has. It's turned into anything but.
I used to throw an NFC AFC championship party every year at my house. Yeah, that was mine. We had the squares up on the wall. We had it all going.
That's a great idea.
That went away 10 years ago.
See, I'm telling you, know what I do? Super Bowl Sunday for me for the last 30 years is I watch hockey. There's a game on at 1 o'clock.
Yep.
I watch hockey till 4 o'clock. I am not turning on one of those pregame shows if my life depends on it, okay? So what I'll find something to do for a couple hours, and then when the game starts, then I'm in the game.
I'll go an hour prior to the game and start watching the pregames. An hour.
Yeah.
I'm not watching the pregame.
Do you know what it's almost like the way that we operate here at Woodward Sports, those pregame shows. It's like, oh hey, Maz is here. What a surprise, Maz is here. Maz, why don't you come on and talk about your new sitcom on Fox this year?
Exactly.
Oh, Corey with a K is here. Corey with a K, what do you got going on? I mean, you expect that in your workplace, but I mean, really, that's what it's turned into. The coverage has turned into, let's give ourselves a big commercial for what's going on at whatever network it is.
And what do they do during the Super Bowl is they show you where the stars of their TV shows are sitting.
Yes.
Because let's face it, the NFL is a big commercial for the networks. They pay that money to the NFL just to get their shows out there to you. Because that's where they make their money. They lose money on the NFL.
Absolutely.
You can't pay billions of dollars and expect to make money. You need to make money on Murder, She Wrote.
Yes.
That's what you need.
That's what it is.
That's where you're making your money.
Yeah. There's some great art comments
keeps
on here.
I'm trying to figure out who is commenting, calling me an angry elf, and I think it's Stick over there. They're like, oh, he's an angry elf now. Someone's commenting, and Stick he's shrugging his shoulders. He's right over there. And it's not joking.
You know what? I see the long table in there. I can see Art getting up on the table like Elf and just running at Buddy. And Buddy sitting there like this. I can totally see that.
I'm so done.
Our buddy Dave Hubbard from the Butchery, 1/3 of the Smoke Show, said, "This year we will be smoking some wheat." That's meat. That sounds good to me.
What's he smoking?
Meat.
Okay.
I'm in.
I'm in.
Look, there'll probably be some weed as well, but no, that's good. I didn't know what I was going to be doing, and traditionally because my daughter's birthday is the first weekend in February. For years we had her birthday party the same day as the Super Bowl, and then she kind of got to the age, and she was like, "I don't want to do this anymore," because it always turns into well, Dad made a bunch of food. Why don't you stay for the Super Bowl? And I was like, Honey, absolutely. So now we do it the day before the Super Bowl.
Good.
Because her birthday is February 4th, so whatever
I love it.
Super Bowl weekend is, it's like, nope, Saturday's her day and her day alone. So
Do you like watching the Super Bowl at home still?
Yes.
I love it. I don't like going to parties. No,
Yep.
I'm home with my
that's
kids.
what we talked. I don't want to be at the Super Bowl. Let me stay at home and watch
No,
it.
if I'm not at the Super Bowl, I'm home on my couch.
No, I don't. No,
That's
it's
what I
not
do.
for. You know what the problem is? It's. I'm a nerd. I'm a meat and potato guy.
Yeah.
I don't want to be in a room with a bunch of cackling hens, both males and females, talking about how great the commercials they just watched 10 minutes
I
ago
know.
are.
Meanwhile, you've missed 8 plays because you can't even hear the damn game.
Let me watch the game.
I know.
Like,
That's
have
why I
fun.
stay
I'm
home.
not telling you not to have fun.
I stay home.
You do you, but I'm going to do me. Like, I don't want to be there.
I've even told my family, look, I know we've been invited to these 3 parties. You guys, go ahead. But they don't even. They know. They don't even ask me to go to a party. And they're home, and we're all happy. I'm having my pizza rolls, my pigs in the blanket.
I don't want
I'm
the
good.
game to be background noise. Like, I want to
thank
actually
you.
pay attention to
Yeah.
the game.
And I have my squares. I got to make money on the game.
You know what? True story. And Mom, you know I love you, but one time we had Lauren's birthday party, like the day of the Super Bowl, and I said, if you want to stay downstairs and watch a game, stay downstairs and watch a game, but like we got to be serious about it because it's my job and all that. and then otherwise you'll have it upstairs and everything. I kicked my mom out of the basement.
That's awesome.
I have no problem. Mom, look, there was a rule. There was a rule. You didn't obey the rule. My mom did the walk of shame upstairs. And Mom, I'll do it again. I mean, you can't say you weren't warned.
I will kick my own mother.
I did. I kicked her out of the. Go
good
upstairs.
stuff, man.
Go talk about the commercials upstairs. Talk about how good this wacky deviled egg dip is.
The Dorito commercial's winning right now, honey.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
That's always the worst when you're around certain people who are like, oh, I really like that commercial. It's like, we're not here for the commercials.
Knock it off already. Hey, Maz, it was great. Thanks for
man.
coming in.
Thanks,
Anytime.
man.
You got a spot here
Thank you.
anytime.
Thanks, guys.
Joik will be back here tomorrow. Fret not.
Boo.
Art the Angry Elf is that's a great bit.
Hey, Art, you better watch it. He'll braid
just
your hair,
came up
man.
and it really is a great bit. But always a pleasure, Art. Thank you.
Thank you.
We will chat with you guys again tomorrow. Joik will be in the house. In the meantime, have yourselves a fantastic Monday. Remember Dr. Martin Luther King today, and boy, we could all use a little bit more of that
Amen.
in our society today. In the meantime, see you tomorrow.